Cool. You ready? Then let's do this.
All right, time's up. Let's do this. Leroy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Generation Spacing, episode number 3, the podcast of your favorite fighting game commentators, just, talking about whatever they feel like it late at night here. So, of course, myself, TuboWare, EbonicPlague. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I can't believe
Hello.
you did that.
Hi. How's it going?
Oh, man. So, how are things going with you guys right now?
I mean, it's going. I'm existing still, so that's nice.
If that ain't a fucking mood, bro.
Yeah.
It's going. I don't know, man.
That's what quarantine life has us like, right? Like, it's just like, yeah, it's going.
Not dead yet.
Yep. Exactly.
But fun thing happened today in Minneapolis.
Okay.
It was bright, sunny day.
Okay.
Nice, like slight clouds, and then snow.
Whoa.
It was
Sounds like
bright.
Oregon.
It was bright and sunny, but also snowing at the same time.
That's very odd. Okay.
It was wild. And then it stopped snowing, and it was bright and sunny, and then it got cloudy and snowed a little bit more. Then it got bright and sunny again, because fuck you.
Dude,
That sounds like Oregon, actually. That happens here, too.
So weird, man.
Dude, for me, though, it's just been, it's been raining all day and yesterday. It's just constant raining harder than it's rained in a long time here in Southern California, to be honest with you. So
Good. You guys need that. You guys are fucked up without it.
Yeah, right? The droughts.
yeah, I mean, well, it's okay now that I don't have leaks in my fucking roof, right? And
Sure.
so they just came and finished fixing my ceiling because of where all the bubbles and everything started building up from all the leaks. So they fixed all that shit. Cost me a few more, bucks and stuff. But,
A few bucks.
it's nice to have a clean and a fixed ceiling finally for the first time in like 5 or 6 years. So
Nice.
my cat
Congrats.
is being cuddly again. Huh. Interesting.
Mhm.
I think it just
Miles
likes it
never
when it
comes on
sees...
stream.
I think it likes it when it sees Brandon on stream. It's just like, oh, and then he becomes like super lovey. Hi,
One
kitty.
day I'm just going to literally crash your house.
Dude, you
and
should. Just
meet your cats.
come on down.
Yeah, this is the quick drive down the road.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's not too far. Don't worry
Who cares
about
about social distancing right now? We don't care about social distancing.
No way, man.
it. Unfortunately, that's common of a lot of people, though, is that they don't, and that's why we're stuck with it for even longer than we probably should.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, Dude, did you see that crazy tweet that I just saw? That like some girl was like freaking out because one of her dad's friends passed away and the dad was trying to go to the funeral. And she basically, because she was going so crazy, she convinced him not to go. Like 50 people attended, and then now 20 of them have coronavirus, and like 4 of them have passed away already and stuff.
Yikes.
It's crazy, dude. It's nuts.
Dodging a bullet on that one. God damn.
Yeah. People don't
Dude,
understand.
you know what I think about pretty often, like more often than I like to admit? New York is super fucked up right now, right? Like 799 people died last night alone in New York.
Yeah.
Right as that shit was like really spreading in NYC, Reflex was going on.
No, and Flux got it too. Flux
got sick. Mike Ross got sick. He thinks he had COVID, but that dude recovered in like 3 or 4 days.
Wait,
so I'm
which
gonna
one?
go off
Who was that?
on a limb and say that he did not have it.
Who was that?
Mike Ross.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got. Yeah, I think he had the flu. I think he got the flu because like if you watched Reflex at all, everybody's like sharing drinks and shit. Like they were not concerned about COVID-19 one bit.
Oh man.
So I think he got sick, but I don't think he had COVID like he claims.
I mean, it could have been,
Mike, if
to
you're
be
watching.
honest with you, because honestly, everybody's a lot of people react differently to it. So
I mean, yeah, but I've never seen a case where people said it only took 3 days for it to go away.
Yeah. Even the people that have recovered from it have not recovered that fast.
Yeah, he got sick, and then it was like, boom, he's better. So I really doubt that he had. He might have. Like, obviously, I'm not a doctor.
I mean, Joe hasn't even been cleared to go out yet. He thought he was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe's all fucked up.
And then Isaiah
Vlog's
left
got
the
it.
building. Oh no, here he is. Okay.
Didn't
close my
somebody in
window, sorry.
Cali get it too? I could. Oh yeah, Dr. Stance got it.
Yes, Dr. Stans has it.
So yeah, lots of FGC people.
Yeah,
got it.
and I bet you there's a lot more too that we're just not aware of, right? So how
Yeah,
many
more
people in the
likely. A lot of
FTC
us don't have insurance or even the means, even if we do have insurance, to go get tested.
I mean, unless you're rocking like 103 temperature, they're not testing you anyway. So
Yeah.
Well, they just passed an ordinance here in California that you are getting free treatment, but free tests, I should say, but you have to show symptoms. Because the thing is, like, I was actually this past weekend supposed to visit my parents. And then like 2 days beforehand, I was like, I can't do it because what if I am an asymptomatic carrier, you know? Like,
Yeah.
who knows what the hell's going on with me? I could just be one of those people who's lucky, you know, knock on wood, that just doesn't, you know, show symptoms or anything, but I'm carrying it. And I was like, I can't visit my parents in good consciousness. It would be nice to get tested just to find out one way or another, because if I found out I didn't have it, then I would just go immediately and visit them. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to risk it, dude. I can't do it.
Yeah, and then, like, who knows, maybe they could have it and then give it to you, and
Yeah.
it's like,
So, rather be safe.
I haven't visited any of my family at all. Like, I texted them, like, all right, we're all good, right? Okay, cool, awesome.
Oh, man.
yeah, it's messed up, man.
Yeah, I saw like a graph. Well, I guess it's more like a bar chart that like gradually went up. That showed like the first 100 days of some of like the biggest sicknesses that like the world has ever seen. And in 100 days, COVID has surpassed everything. The one right below it was it wasn't Ebola. It was another one.
Not like
I forget what it
SARS or,
was.
you know,
What'd you say?
The Black Plague.
wasn't SARS or something like that?
It wasn't SARS. It wasn't SARS, no. But I think it started with like a C. I forget what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yes, COVID-18.
Yeah, right. No, it was like CH
No,
or something.
you mean
like that. I forget
16
what it
and
was. I'd have to check it
17.
again. But like the point is when I saw it, like COVID like starts out at the bottom and like nobody's got it, nobody's dying from it or whatever, right? Like in the graph, because this graph was about people dying within 100 days. And then like you see COVID like slowly creep up every 5 days.
Yeah.
And then like in the 6th day or whatever, it like shoots up like 3, and then like at like day number 15 or some shit, it's like the top of the charts and it's just beating everything else. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the wild thing about the whole, I mean, 799 yesterday in New York alone. I mean, that's more than the total of some states so far. I mean,
New York is real bad.
Yeah, I was reading an article. Well, speaking of articles, like one article actually said that the New York one, it seems like the strain came from Europe. That they were doing like studies and stuff like that, and that particular strain might have came from Europe. And now that everybody's saying that, you know, it might have existed even as early as November last year or even October last year in China, that, you know, it's strange that California has such a low case count, you know, knock on wood for that kind of thing. But like, maybe we've actually been exposed to early strains of it early on that we all just
that's
thought
what I was
flow.
saying. I think I said that like our week 1 podcast where China wasn't accurate on when the virus got out, right? There's no way to actually be accurate on that. And B, they straight up lied about their containment.
Because they lie about all the bad stuff that goes on over there anyway.
And then I think about how bad flu season was.
Yeah.
I really don't think that was the flu, dude.
Yeah.
I think that shit was COVID because, like, I think of, like, a friend of mine, Humbag, at Frosty Faustings, he was super sick.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
he probably shouldn't have fucking been there. But regardless, he was sick. And all of his symptoms, minus, like, maybe fever, but all of his symptoms were, like, COVID, and he was sick for, like, a month.
Oh,
What if-
really?
what if-
It was not the flu. Like, he was sick for a long fucking time, and it was hacking lungs, it was fatigue, it was body aching, it was all the COVID shit.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, man, maybe James had contracted it, and then, like, after Frosties, like, went to Frosties, after Frosties, all these people have very similar symptoms to COVID.
Yeah. And
So I'm just like how long is this shit? Dude, that would be wild if Humpback was like, FGC patient 0.
Yeah, he was patient 0, and he made us all immune to it because he gave it to us all. Like,
I
everybody
mean,
was at Frosty anyway.
that was like the thing that made me think that it isn't COVID, because I was at Frosty's. I didn't get sick at all. But then again, maybe I'm just an asymptomatic person.
Right. And
maybe I carried it for a month and had no idea, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way it sounds right now is there's probably a lot more people out there who are, quote, immune to it, but just asymptomatic than we probably think, because I think that's why it's spreading so much, because I think so many people just think that they're okay. And they're
I'm not sick. I'm fine.
I'm fine. And then they just spread it to other people. And so, I mean, honestly, California might have been, infected with it, because California also had an earlier flu season than normal, like around November or December last year, according to the article. And so maybe that's why our case numbers are actually weirdly low for being such an extremely populated
Already
area.
passed. You guys peaked. It passed through you.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that shit is messed up, man.
Weird. But yeah. Well, glad to see that we're all doing okay for now. So,
Hopefully
for now.
we are.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about some video game stuff or anything? So,
I mean, we could.
I guess. Oh, idea for the future. I talked about the song earlier, right?
Okay.
So we need like an intro song, and then we need like, I don't know, James, you have to do it because this is your job. I'm making it your job. We need like a ticker like you do for UltraChen.
Gotcha. Yeah, for topics.
Only because I think it'll help us stay on topic and not forget stuff. Not because like I think it's like something you have to have for your podcast, but it's just something to remind us to stay the fuck on topic.
Right. I don't even know if we have to be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess the whole purpose of this podcast was not that we needed to stay on topic, just that we need to do whatever we and a topic helps.
It does. And we can't keep talking about COVID every week. That would be fucking... Yeah, it's a virus we know.
It's a pretty important topic.
It is! But man, like 3 weeks in a row, it's always... I mean, I guess that's what life is right now.
I mean, it actually honestly is also kind of important just to talk about it in terms of the FGC, right? Just, make sure that we're aware of what's going on with everybody else. So
I am very much awaiting that first COVID-related FGC death. That shit is going to happen.
Don't say that, man. Just don't.
It will.
It already happened.
Did it?
Yeah, it already happened.
With who?
Yeah, one of the first people was a European Arcana Heart player.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
didn't even know.
The guy said that it took only 4 days. Like he just got sick, and then 4 days later.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Now I feel like an asshole. I do remember seeing that tweet. That's true.
Yeah. No, I knew the guy actually. Now, to be fair, I met him very briefly at the Arcana Heartside tournament at Evo, I believe it was. So I can't say like I knew him, but it's weird knowing that I met that guy, played Arcana Heart with him, and then bam, like,
yikes.
So yeah, and I mean, there could be other cases that maybe I've missed.
Like I said, one of the hardest things too is that a lot of the people who do go to fighting game events and everything like that might live in kind of sparse areas, and so we only know them online or they go to events. But the problem is if they get sick, they might not even be around anyone to kind of let everybody know in the FGC.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have how many confirmed cases now? But, like I said, guys like Flux are not even going to be a part of that because they never got tested, right? So Mike Ross, if he did have it, he's not even, tested. He wasn't even tested.
L.I. Joe had it, right?
Yeah, L.I. Joe had it. But he got tested.
He got told, he got tested, and he got told that he had to sit around the house a little bit longer because he's still showing symptoms.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
Oof. So, yeah, I mean, it could be happening a lot more. I mean, there might even, not trying to be morbid or anything, but there might be even more, people in the FGC who have passed away and we just don't know yet,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do know that some people in the FGC think it may have affected either friends or family members outside of the FGC.
Oh, yeah.
But some of them weren't, like, diagnosed when it happened kind of deal. So we don't know if it was that or if it was something else kind of deal.
Yeah. So again, the number of cases that have been reported is probably miserably low compared to the actual cases.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if
Absolutely.
you go back to November, December, and maybe because California, the article was saying that California is such a popular place for people from China to come visit because it's the easier one to head to. And so there could have been many cases in California, and a lot of people who have passed away from the flu might have actually been part of the COVID numbers.
Or pneumonia, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Just anything
Whatever
that
they
would
wanna-
have similar symptoms.
Right. Anything they want to address that as not COVID because doctors literally didn't know what the fuck that was.
Right, exactly.
Looks like the flu to me. Guess he died from the flu. All right, body back him up.
One of the funny things about this strand of COVID is so this is obviously COVID-19, right? There was a previous strand of COVID way back in the day in 2012. That was not that was incredibly quickly contained supposedly, and like nowhere near as like fucked up.
Right.
The only reason I know about this is because when COVID first started showing up, James, you and I were in Japan for Evo Japan.
Yes. Mhm.
And I saw some people on Twitter talking about it. And so I started looking it up because I'm like, I'm in a foreign country and fucking people are talking about dying from this virus. I'm scared. Like, I need to figure out what I need to do to not get this virus, right?
Right.
So I started looking it up, but I'm like, so this COVID, coronavirus, I believe is what I had to look up, showed up in 2012 in the Middle East. And we know it's the same type of virus, but a different strand because like it can be shared between animals and humans, and all the other different like symptoms and shit like that. But for whatever reason, that strand was contained within the Middle East like that. Like they were like, no, fuck this. Like, and most people don't even remember it happened. Kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that happening.
I don't remember. I don't remember a COVID.
I remember SARS and bird flu and all that shit.
Mad cow
I definitely remember
disease or
SARS and
whatever.
bird flu.
Wasn't there like a flesh-eating disease or something like that at one point?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Actually, not enough sleep. What a good name, because that's what I need. I need to take that handle from that guy.
Good Lord,
he
that's
actually said
such a mood.
It was called MERS potentially, because I heard SARS is another coronavirus too. But
Yeah, because one of the names for COVID-19 is actually SARS-2 COVID-19 or some shit like that. Like one of like the scientific names of it. It has the name SARS in it. So.
But I remember MERS. I remember hearing about that name, so maybe that's what I had heard of.
It could have been MERS. Yeah. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I just
know
remember
there's a rapper named Mers. That's about all the Mers I know.
Was he Patient Zero?
He may have been. I don't know.
So does that mean that in like 7 years from now we're gonna have a rapper named COVID or something?
Dude, I don't know if it was bullshit or not. I didn't read the article. I saw a headline that said a person, a lady, I would assume, had twins and named one of them Corona and one of them COVID.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too, but I don't know if it was
What
actually
the
bullshit.
fuck?
I
I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Was it published 9 days ago on April 1st? You know?
No.
It was after.
Yeah, it was definitely after.
Because I remember seeing it, and I remember having about the same reaction you did, Brandon. I was like, this is the reason why we know that social distancing won't work. Is because we have people dumb enough to name their kids after a virus because they think it doesn't matter.
Well, the worst part about it
right.
is the parents can be whatever and think of it. I mean, the kids are going to get their ass beat at school like for the rest of their lives, you know, if they're named Corona and COVID. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
You're just dooming your kids.
I would change my name as soon as I possibly could.
Even if coronavirus wasn't a thing, do you really want to be named after like a mediocre beer? Like,
That's a bad look.
I mean, my friend actually had college mates that were like, this is a true story, that they were twins, and one of them was named Orangelo and the other was named Lamangelo after orange jello and lemon jello.
Yep.
You know,
that sucks.
And it's funny too because like one of the radio shows in California, someone called in and told that story, and everyone's like, "That's so, you know, that's BS, that's bullshit," or whatever like that. Yeah. And my best friend was listening to it, and he was like, "No, I know them."
That's real life.
Yeah. I'm really glad my parents named, because Chinese people have a very bad, back when I was born around that time, Chinese parents had a very bad time naming kids because they, there's a lot of kids that are my age that just have the weirdest names that shouldn't be names, But
what does that mean?
I'm glad just people name them like archaic names these days that people don't really use anymore,
Yeah, stupid shit like Justin Wong.
Fucking James Chen.
I'm glad I'm named James, man. But I mean,
Is that your actual name, or were you born in America? Or
I was
born
in
China?
America. I was born in America.
So they gave you just a straight up American name then?
Yeah. So I have a Chinese name, but
asking him if he was born.
No, I mean like my friend Dennis, K Loud. He was not born. He was born he's born here, but went back to Korea. So when he came back to America, he got to repick his name. His American name is Dennis. His Korean name, I don't even know what it is.
Do you want me to bust out my birth certificate? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
here?
exactly. Show us. You know what? We're gonna build a wall, and James Chen's family is paying for it.
Oh gosh. No, honestly, my birth certificate does have my American name on here. My parents purposely moved to America before they had kids so that we would be citizens. So that was kind of the goal and the plan. And so, yeah, but I mean, I wonder if you guys will ever be able to guess who I was named after. So I don't know if I've told either of you the story before.
Probably not. No, I
don't know. Yeah, there's no way for me. James is so common. Like,
yeah, that could be anything.
When my dad named me James, my brother at the hospital asked my dad, "Oh, what are you gonna name him?" My dad said James, like James Bond. So there you go. I'm actually named after.
That sounds familiar though. I feel like maybe I have heard this story at some point. I don't know.
So I can say
James Bond.
My name is Chen. James Chen, No,
Mr. Chen, I expect you to die.
No, Mr. Chen, I expect you to die. I mean, Renato mentions it in chat. Zelda Williams is literally named after Legend of Zelda. So I mean, that's because Robin Williams was a big, huge gamer. He loved video games.
Man, you know what I learned about Robin Williams that actually, like, kind of me being me ruined my view of him as a person?
Oh, no.
He grew up super, super crazy rich.
Oh, okay.
Like, fucking loaded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and, like, the way I feel about people that grow up, like, super, super loaded and they become famous and all that shit, like, I just feel like you had every resource in the world, so of course you became hilarious and you're good looking and funny and like it takes away the magic a little bit for me.
Okay, but he was legitimately funny for one.
No, he was.
If you like read up on his history and stuff like that, he wasn't using his money to do anything evil, right?
No. I don't think he's a bad person. It just takes away the magic of, like, oh wow, this person's just crazy talented. Like, yeah, they were talented, but also they were giving every opportunity to be what they were meant to be.
Yeah.
He was definitely. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, I feel like, that while that's true, I feel like you can tell that Robin Williams' talent and his humor really does come from that dark side. Well,
yeah. I'm not saying that he wasn't torn or tormented or anything like that. I'm just saying that when you're born at an advantage, you are more likely to become the person you are meant to be.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, if he was broke and, he didn't have the opportunities and he had to get a job at 16 to help support his family, I really doubt he'd have been able to cultivate, his performances and his voices and all that stuff.
Of course.
So it always, like, when I hear people come from nothing, and they like a Will Smith type of deal, where they come from like nothing and they become this really successful. That's like the American dream that we've all been sold, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and all that shit. So like the American in me, when I know that somebody didn't do that, like I'm like, oh, you didn't earn it as much, which is a really fucking stupid way to look at anything. But yeah, when I read that, I was like, oh, he didn't come from nothing. He's like 99.8% cool instead of 100% cool now.
See, that's the thing is like when you first said that, I was like, oh shit, don't ruin Robin Williams for me.
No,
That was the exact same thing.
No. He wasn't like a weird pedo Uncle Touchy or anything. No, he just grew up rich. That's all.
Okay.
God, I really hope not, because he did grow up rich and then he became rich. So the chances of him dealing with like those pedophile rings, and he was in Hollywood.
Yeah,
that's actually really, really high. Like any rich person in Hollywood could easily be a part of that currently.
Yeah, he was right there for it. So
yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy because after he passed away, someone posted up the God, what was the Richard Lipton those interviews that he used to do all the time inside the studio or whatever it was, and I saw the episode with Robin Williams in it, and like after finding out, just how tortured he was and everything, and you watch that episode, oh my God, like I was at work when I was watching it, and I just started like bawling. I was just like crying so bad because it's just like, man, now now you understand this kind of thing, and you could kind of see it in all the humor now, and see the undertones of it, and it was so brutal. So I don't know. I'll always have sympathy for Robin Williams. I'll always have sympathy for him.
I mean, yeah, he committed suicide, so
yeah.
He had some shit going on.
Yeah.
That death hit a lot of people pretty hard, particularly because of why he died. It's like, obviously he committed suicide, but it's like the place that you have to be in, the stuff going on in your life, not just all that, but like the fact that you can't always control that, unfortunately. Mental illness really sucks, and like you can have like everything going great, right? And then like mental illness is like, damn, your day actually sucks. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, like I talk about this a lot, about depression and everything like that. I've been very open about the fact that I take antidepressants and stuff, just because I just don't want it to be weird for people. I don't want it to be like, oh, you take antidepressants? Whoa, you're strange, you're weird, or it needs to be something that's very normalized. And so I'm always just like, yeah, I get depressed, I take antidepressants because it helps a lot. So
that's why I check in on your bitch ass all the time too.
Yeah, exactly. So
James, where you been? Oh, just sleeping.
As much as Tubo likes to talk shit to me, he cares, dude. I know
he definitely does, for sure. Yeah, like the whole mental illness thing is like really shitty. Taking.
Well, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Test. Hello.
Yeah,
there you go. You're good now.
Hey, on your Discord,
what's up with your mic, man?
On your Discord, if you go to your settings, if you go to your voice and video settings, do you have that thing that says automatically determine input sensitivity on?
On the voice and video. Oh, I do. Indeed, I do.
Turn that off, and then drag the bar all the way to the left. And then it just basically will never cut off anything. So maybe that'll help a little bit.
Anyway, I was saying like, cause you know how you're talking about like the idea of it being weird that somebody's taking antidepressants for some people, right? Some people react like, oh, you're taking, that used to be a big thing. It's a little less nowadays because it's more common for people to talk about mental illness, right? But it's still a big problem.
Yeah.
Still a big issue. A lot of people are really, really worried about talking about their particular diagnosis or whatever because they're like, oh, if I say this, somebody's gonna say I'm lying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't really like talk about it much, but in high school I was diagnosed with manic depressiveness, manic depression, and that's they basically changed their diagnosis of that to like bipolar disorder.
Yeah,
right? It's similar enough that they kind of classified it as the same thing. Apparently, I just learned that they started doing that, right?
Okay.
But like it's I'll be sitting here like having a great time with you guys or whatever, and like I'll wake up the next morning and for like a week straight I'll just be like, this is the worst day ever, you know, like kind of deal. So, but like, Yeah, sorry, I kind of went off on like a tangent.
No,
on that.
no,
Like,
it's
the point
fine,
I was
it's
trying to
fine.
make was that like people are too afraid to like talk about their
Yeah.
thing because everybody's gonna be like, you're fucking lying. You're trying to like seek attention.
Right,
And
yes.
all you need is like to go outside, you know, kind of
Dude,
deal.
I had people yell at me on YouTube about that. I had YouTube
Mm-hmm.
comments before when, you know, David and I would talk about it, and they basically claimed that I was, you know, sympathy fishing or something like that, or jumping into sympathy culture, you know, too much and stuff. And I'm just like,
Is that a thing?
we have a term for this now? Like, you guys,
Yeah.
I mean,
What?
it's the worst. I mean, that's basically how you defeat being empathetic towards other people, right? I mean, you know, not to get into politics again, but that's where the whole concept of Bernie Bros came from, right? It's like, here's all these people yelling at you because they want the world to be a better place. So now they're toxic, and now they're, you know, we're going to brand them this term so that they're evil, and now we don't have to pay attention to them anymore, you know? It's like,
That's like the whatchamacallit. Fuck, why can I not think of words? It's a paradox. It's the tolerance paradox. I don't know if either of you have heard of that before, but
what paradox?
tolerance paradox.
No, I haven't actually.
So I guess you would call it a theory because you can't call a paradox a fact or something like that.
okay.
It's a paradox in itself. But anyways, it's a theory that when you're trying to promote tolerance, you have to be intolerant of intolerance.
Yeah.
And so crazy right wingers and like the real off ones, not even just Republicans, but like alt righters, what they do is instead of you'll constantly hear like, well, you guys preach tolerance, why are you so intolerant of me, you know, not liking a race of people or whatever.
Right.
But you're the real intolerant ones for not tolerating my intolerance. And that's where the tolerance paradox comes in. It says, if you want to be tolerant of people, you have to be intolerant of intolerance.
Yes.
So you have to dunk on Nazis, basically. You have to tell them that they suck in order to keep the peace, you know, in order to keep tolerance and allow, you know, intolerance to go away. You have to be intolerant of intolerance. So
I mean, the way that...
that's the same thing.
Yeah, one of my life philosophies and the way that I kind of get around it is that, you know, one of the credos that I live by is that I will give everybody respect until they disrespect someone else first. You know, and that's basically how it is. So if you hate a group of people, if you are anti, you know, LGBTQ, or you're anti-women or anti-Asian or anti, you know, black or whatever, you're disrespecting someone else, and then you no longer deserve my respect. But as long as you respect other people and everybody else, then I'll respect you. So
sure,
I make a pass for TuboWare, but you know, I mean, I'm just kidding.
I'll say, man, if you don't like people that disrespect people, fuck, we can't be friends anymore, dude.
God damn it, TuboWare.
Have you seen my rash?
I don't
mean my actual rash. I don't mean my actual rash. I mean KI.
Oh, okay. I was like,
see my rash.
I was trying to figure out where you were going.
That used to be one of my favorite things to say to people when I played the game seriously. Have you seen my rash?
That's awesome.
And they don't know what to say.
Oh man.
That's a topic that we will get into for sure.
Actually, speaking of KI, I mean, have you been playing that a lot now? Because that game is getting a pretty big resurgence all of a sudden.
Yeah, I've been helping friends that don't know the game very well learn it. Like I've been playing with David a lot. Mm-hmm. On his stream, on your guys' stream, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
When he streams it, I've been playing with him quite a bit.
That's cool.
Other friends just picked up the game because it had like a Steam sale, you know.
Yeah.
So I've been helping them. I dunked the Kill Sage real bad on his stream, like the first day he started playing it. I think he did qualifier matches, and you know, if like there's nobody else to play against, you'll get matched up with whoever.
Right.
And I didn't even know he was streaming, but I saw his name come up. I was like, oh, I'm going to dunk him. So I dunked him, went into his stream, and his response was, what the fuck is this character doing? which is pretty accurate if you've never played against Rash before. You're like, what the hell is happening?
I mean, that's a pretty accurate term for a lot of characters in that game.
I mean, yeah. Like there's a combo breaker system for a reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I've always said about KI, is that it's interesting design. Because the combo breaker system exists, you can make all the characters as fucked up as you want them to be, because you'll always have the ability maybe to escape it. And it's actually kind of, weirdly enough, they took that system and allow them to make the craziest game possible. So it was kind of genius.
And I mean, to top that off, you had somebody like Keats who has these wacky character ideas, and they let him go nuts with them. So
yes, yeah,
that's how you got Gargos and Rash and Rom and basically any season 3 character is like, oh, okay, got it. Keats did it. Yeah. Aghanos, well, Aghanos season 2, but still, like Aghanos was one of Keats's babies. Like all those weird characters. Like, yep, Adam did that. Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, honestly,
so you can blame Adam, is what you say.
I mean, I appreciate it because, like, it's funny. I've always told myself that if I made, like, I tried to make a fighting game when I was, like, in college or whatever, just on pencil paper kind of fighting game kind of thing, conceptual, and I was making every character as wild and complicated as possible. And then I told, Derek Daniels, right, from Midwest. I think I've asked you this question. You don't remember Derek.
Nope.
The old school Midwest player who helped make God of War, and all these things like that now. So, but, a long time ago, we were both into X-Men Street Fighter and everything, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, no one will buy your fighting game, James. And I was like, what are you talking about? People will love the complexity. And like years later, I'm like, yeah, no one would buy my fighting game. And I mean, honestly, Keats hasn't gone that far, but he's definitely, like, the season 3 characters I felt were always a little too crazy, but
Idol.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't have 2 characters in one until you pop Instinct, and then he's both characters at the same time. It's wild.
I thought that was super cool, to be honest with you.
It is. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, but like I said, I can't be mad about it because I know that if I ever had the ability to make my own fighting game like that, I'd probably get kind of, drunk with power as well,
Yeah.
But even with all that, if you guys have never played KI before, even with all the nuttiness we're talking about, that game is crazy well balanced.
Yes.
Like you can legitimately name 15 to 20 characters out of the 30, 35 that exist, and all of them could make an argument for top 5.
Yeah.
I think the running joke is KI's top 5 is actually 20 characters.
Yeah. It's always like there's 20 characters in the top 5. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much how it is, dude. Like everybody you'll talk to will have a different top 5 or a different, especially different top 10. So it's a very, very, very balanced game, and there's a character for every playstyle.
Actually, you know what, Tubo? I might want you to try to teach me the game. Because the last time I played the game was when Sajam came to my place and tried teaching me during Season 1 so that I could help commentate at the KI World Tour, the first World Tour. Actually, I think we were already partially into Season 2 at that point. But it was very early on, and that's honestly the last time I've played the game. So I'm like super far behind on the game now, and I don't know anything. So I don't know if you could teach me outside of just like beating my ass down all day.
No. So when I came into KI late, right? I came into KI when it came out on PC, so Season 3 launch.
Yes.
I didn't have an Xbox One, and I definitely didn't want to buy the console and a stick.
Yeah.
Just to play that shit. So I got the game when it came out on PC, and I had really great teachers. I had Rick, the Hotto. He took 9th at Evo twice. I had Keats and Nikki and like all these people that I was more than willing to teach me the game, right? So my goal was to prove KI players that they suck, like I talked about last week.
That's right.
But I only played one character. I only played Rash. I never, ever, ever learned an all. So now when I play all characters, like the way the combo system and everything works in that game, if I play an all character, I look like I've never played the game before. Because I only play Rash. I don't play KI. I play Rash. I know KI. I understand all the characters. I know what they all want to do. Like I get it because I had to learn how to be a commentator for it. But if I was like pick up like a brand new character with you, you'd be almost at the same level as me immediately.
I mean,
because like I'm that bad with other characters.
Yeah, the game is super muscle memory heavy.
It's so what I tell people about KI when they like, hey, I want to learn the game, I tell them it's going to take you 3 months before you can play at a base level because the entire game is a huge knowledge check.
Yeah.
Breaking combos is a knowledge check. When you want to break a combo is a knowledge check. What every character can do is a knowledge check. What good times to use different mechanics in the game are all fucking knowledge checks.
Yeah.
So until you learn when to do everything and how to recognize auto doubles and et cetera to break combos, then you're gonna need to put in 3 months before you really learn that shit.
Yeah, that's a good point right here, Isaiah. You just typed in the chat the ki.infill.net. If you want to learn the game, there you go.
Chat. That's gonna go in the actual stream chat because the reason I put that in the chat is when I came into it, I also came into it after PC release, like Brandon did. I didn't get as heavy into it because I was playing other games and stuff like that, and other games were more my baby. But I've had this bookmarked ever since, and this thing helped me get 9th place in KI, which was my first tournament at Northwest Majors.
Nice.
Nice.
I had to beat 3 or 4 different people that were playing the game, and I was like, I didn't know shit, right? And then I studied that for a few months. And then Northwest Majors rolled around, and I was like, okay, I'm going to enter KI. You know, it'll be my first tournament. I won't do so hot. I might beat a person, right? Kind of deal. And it turned out I knew a lot more than I realized simply because I gave that guy to comb through. And I also had people explaining things. Also, the tutorial system in the game gets you off on, like, a few basics, right? Yeah. Like, there's a lot of resources out there. That is the point I've been trying to get to is like the amount of resources to learn KI is actually really high despite the high ceiling, you could say, that the game has.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there. If you really want to learn, it's out there.
Plus another thing, honestly, Keats did a really good job adding a lot of very beginner-friendly stuff in there. You know, just being able to tap one button. You know, you can turn on the easy auto doubles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Auto combo is a thing in the game. Also, auto combo is customizable in Killer Instinct. You can turn on certain things to be auto comboable and certain things not. So, like, for me, I have auto combo completely turned off except for my Ultra. Because I don't want to input a DP, I'd rather just hit forward and 3 to get my Ultra.
Right. Okay,
it's so much easier to react to. Because, like, as soon as you see danger and then, you get the danger, you can Ultra. And I don't want to give my opponent a chance to break. So rather than seeing that and going, oh shit, I better DP, and like, nope, 4 or 3 punches, you're dead. I win.
Make sure you close that round out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
and its accessibility is pretty high in the game.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too is that we're talking about this game and kind of probably making it sound a little intimidating, but although, like, I always say that Killer Instinct is probably one of the highest mental fatiguing games there is because there's just no point in which you can stop thinking.
No. So, yeah, that's another good point, James. In like, games like Marvel or anime games that have, like, really long combos, like, KI's combos are not short, you get locked out.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's if you get locked out, right? Like, you're constantly interacting. So, like, in Marvel, if I'm getting hit by a combo, I'm not interacting with my opponent anymore. They're just hitting me until they can't hit me anymore, right? Yeah, until I die. In KI, we're continually interacting because I have to find that point to break the combo.
Yes.
Or to maybe not break the combo. Maybe I'm looking for them to counter break and I want to punish that. And yeah, you're constantly interacting, which is very unique.
Yeah. And that's the thing. But at the same time, like, I don't want to make it sound intimidating. But hey, look, all fighting games are hard. It doesn't matter what fighting game you go into; they're all hard. They can look as simple. They can try to dumb them down and make them as simple as possible.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, and so honestly, one of the things that I've really wanted to do, I've always had the code for it because I backed it a long time ago. But I've had a copy of Them's Fightin' Herds forever. And I actually just started it up recently and started messing with it. And, I kind of want to mess with all these games. And KI might be a good one to do as well because I just really want to promote and support good netcode games right now. Punch Planet is another one. Not enough sleep. Punch Planet is 100% one of those games that I really need to try. And I don't know, maybe I'll talk to the Punch Planet guys, see if I can worm a code out of them or something.
I'm sure you could.
This is honestly
Yeah.
the perfect time for people to not only branch out in fighting games, but like other characters or other like ideas in the metagame of their current games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because when tournament season's happening, people stick to what's strong like at the moment, right? And so they try to go with that and develop that, right? And then something comes up later on in the game's lifespan that was like, oh shit, this was always strong, we just didn't know about it kind of deal. I feel like in this kind of situation where everybody might get bored, and they can go and look at other things in the game because they don't have to worry about like $10,000 being on the line at whatever the hell, right? We're gonna have a chance of more characters or more like strategies or even other games possibly like showing up that weren't there before because people have the chance to look at them because what the hell else are they doing? Like,
And not only that, but a lot of these other games are the only ones that you can play online realistically, right?
yeah, that's very true. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about KI right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's let's be honest, that is the reason people are going to these games with good netcode.
Yeah. KI, Skullgirls, them fighting hard even has rollback. Properly implemented rollback is what I hear. I have yet to play
Fight for
it.
Animals, like in the chat.
Fight for Animals does have GGPO.
Yes.
Yes, it does. I played that game, by the way, at P&W's Christmas party. And I think I had figured that game out
it's
the very
not the
first
deepest
vanilla build of the game. I feel like had a very obvious set of like strong tools that you could just jump in. But again, a second ago I talked about how you look for what's strong right in the moment, and then later on I could have found out, I don't know.
Yeah, that game's not very deep though. That game is not very deep.
Yeah, but
I don't think it is, but I'm saying
that could be
maybe
right
the thing
in
that I
someone's-
was finding.
Yeah, that
Sorry, go
could be
ahead.
right in someone's wheelhouse, right? If it's not very deep.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying
Right.
But it has GGPO. So
it does.
probably
It does
check
have good
out.
netcode.
should
I
probably
played
at least check
when
it
it
out.
first came out. I played like 50 matches with Keats, and he's in California, and I'm in Minneapolis. So that's a pretty far. Or not California. He's in Florida. Sorry, he's Orlando.
I was gonna say, I was like, when did he move to California?
He moved to Cali. And he's actually living in James's house.
Yeah, Go
Again?
away, Adam. Don't
Why does everybody
spoil
go to
it
James's
right
house?
now. See, Adam is supposed to be paying me money for promoting Killer Instinct right now. So
Yeah, you
he's
guys
giving
caught
me
us.
the-
Yeah,
We're
for
talking about
the
KI
game
right
Iron
now.
Galaxy has made no money.
Yeah, I know,
That makes
right?
sense.
Like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know, I don't really like KI that. Okay, I love KI, Kinda. But, no, I mean, honestly, though, like, some people, and one of the coolest things out there was that, someone was like, oh, I was playing somebody in, like, the Middle East or something, and we had, like, there was no lag, the connection was great. And, I think it was Keats or somebody else came up there and says, let me make this clear, okay? There was definitely lag, because you can't avoid that. It's just the game is so good at masking the lag, and the rollback netcode actually works that you just don't feel it,
Yeah, you don't
So
notice it.
when it's implemented correctly, and KI has always been one of the most correctly implemented rollback netcodes out of all the games. Like, KI and Skullgirls have always been like the two gold standards, I feel like, for rollback
Yeah,
netcode.
from what I know,
Yeah. But
it's those two. Like I remember when we were talking about like the first time we got into KI. Around that time, I played like my placement matches or whatever, and I was really confused at how often the connection with me between the person I was trying to play was super good. Because like obviously I had been sitting down playing net play with every other game. So I was like, okay, so these first two matches are gonna be good, and then like I'll get the dude who fucking's playing on Wi-Fi or whatever the hell, and then like that entire time I could have got the dude that was playing on Wi-Fi, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just would have known.
I just didn't realize it.
and
Oh, go ahead, James.
No. I was just about to say, like, I feel like this is the right time for a lot of these games with the good rollback netcode to really start shining and making a push for themselves. And, that's also why I wanted to that's why I was saying maybe I should start learning KI. You can try to help me learn KI because it'd be interesting to watch me start trying to get into it. Like I said, Them's Fighting Herds, Punch Planet. Those are probably the 3 games, maybe Skullgirls as well, 4 games that I probably, would really like to push because those are some of the more, like, I guess high profile-ish independent fighting games in a way,
Yeah. One I would recommend personally, if you're not into team games, this might not work, and we did talk about it at the very beginning of the stream, is Power Rangers. That does actually have rollback netcode. And it also has crossplay with each platform.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the coolest part about it, is you can play on any system, and you're playing with everyone. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. There was a bug with the 2.0 patch. I don't know if it's been fixed yet, because I haven't been able to check it. So just forewarning anybody going into Power Rangers after listening to this. There was a bug with the crossplay that showed up in the 2.0 patch, where connections with crossplay opponents was far worse, which had never shown up until that point. It might be fixed at this point. It might not. I'm not sure. But that did show up at 2.0, which was the most recent, very large patch, obviously.
Yeah, and they're aware of it too. So
they talked about it supposedly. So if it hasn't been fixed, they're working on it. But I feel like it probably been fixed at this point, right?
Hopefully. It seems like games that use crossplay in any format, they always seem to struggle with connection.
Yeah,
like between the 2 systems. Like I think Mortal Kombat and KI have done okay, but it seems like any other fighting game to do that really struggles with crossplay.
So that's the thing, though, is this game has had crossplay since launch. Well, I think it was since launch, and it didn't have any issues until this 2.0 patch because there was a bug.
Yeah,
and after I don't, like I said, I don't know if they fixed that bug, but it was perfectly fine up until that bug.
And the technical reason why that was a problem before was because, and this is why Street Fighter V is so wonky, is before, PlayStation, Sony, and Microsoft, didn't play nice. They didn't let other platforms contact their servers or anything like that. And so in order for Street Fighter V to be crossplay, that's why they had to create CFN, and Capcom had to host their own servers. One reason why I feel like MVCI did run much better is because it wasn't cross-platform. So they would use the Xbox servers that already exist, the Sony servers that already exist. They don't need to maintain them. They don't need to figure out how to optimize them because that's the job of the, Sony and Microsoft. But for Street Fighter V, they had to create their own, so they have their own servers to host all the matches and everything like that. Since then, Xbox and Sony have lightened that restriction, and they do allow people to talk to each other, which is why I think Battle for the Grid has that. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, either here in the chat or in the YouTube comments later. This is kind of what I remember hearing about, but that way, when you play it on the PlayStation, it's using the PlayStation servers, but actually talking to the Xbox servers, and that kind of creates a higher quality of connection kind of thing. So
one of the issues was specifically Sony. They were the longest on the uptake for crossplay. They didn't want to allow anybody to do it because for the longest time, like you remember Fortnite, for example, every console PC could crossplay except for PS4.
Yeah.
And if you try to put your account from any of those other platforms onto PS4, it would delete it.
What?
On the other peripherals. You couldn't use it on anything else, right?
Yeah, that was a problem for a bit. People were putting their accounts on PlayStations and they couldn't get back on PC.
And this was like a huge issue because of Sony specifically. And like Microsoft was like, Microsoft did the crossplay thing way earlier than Sony. Sony only did it recently. You probably didn't know this, but Battle for the Grid only got PS4 crossplay recently as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
Before the 2.0 patch, mind you, but still recently. And before the bug of the 2.0 patch, it was actually well implemented. Right. Like people were playing with PS4 people, and it wasn't an issue. But still, it took forever for fucking Sony to just get off their high horse and be like, okay, fine, kind of deal.
Does that mean even Fortnite on the Switch was crossplay as well.
Fortnite on the Switch, you could play with PC people.
So
Dude, you can play on a fucking tablet on your phone. You can play against PC people.
So Nintendo had less of a stick up their ass than Sony did.
Yeah, which
I
is very
think
surprising.
Nintendo's deal with online play in general is they just don't give it. They're just like, yeah, whatever, we don't care.
Right.
People play these things online. Whatever, yeah, by all means. You know, I think Nintendo just doesn't care.
Wasn't there that
Nintendo
one?
was like,
There was that one game that was like, you're trying to date the women or whatever, and like on the Switch it's not censored. You have like all like the cleavage and all this stuff, and on the PlayStation it was actually super censored.
Weird.
That's been really common recently, actually. Sony has been censoring a ton of games on their platform. That are like otome games, which are pretty much like visual novels and stuff like that. That could contain nudity or at least partial nudity kind of deal. Mm-hmm. They have been censoring a lot of those games. It's been like a really common topic. Really unfortunate that the demographics that's whining about it is like the super hardcore like bad people. I'm gonna say, the
bad people.
The kind of people that say the words vagina bones. Like,
okay, fair enough.
Remember those people? Like, yeah. Like, they took away her vagina bones. Is by the way my quote.
Is that a thing? Is a vagina bone a thing?
Do you not know about that quote?
No,
okay.
No.
So there was.
I don't fuck with people who talk about vagina bones. Like, I don't think that's a real. I'm very certain that a vagina bone is not a part of the body.
I wish I had the tweet on deck for you. I'm really sorry I don't, because you would lose your shit reading this.
Vagina bones.
There was censorship of a censorship, I should say, quote unquote, with my fucking fingers, of a remastered game. Oh yes, it was Tokyo Mirage Session. Brunato knows in the chat. Yeah. So in Tokyo Mirage Session was coming out for the Switch, right? And it was receiving some changes to the more promiscuous outfits the characters would have, right? And somebody and then a bunch of people were big uproars on this, right? That like are
of course
the bad people that I'm talking about, right? One of the people put a side-by-side comparison of it, and they were like, look at this absolute horrific censorship that they're doing for this. They censored her vagina bones. And do you know what they were talking about when they said vagina bones?
Assuming like the hip flexor area.
Yep.
Like exactly. The pelvis. That's what I'm thinking of.
100%. You know it.
I know exactly what he's talking about, but it's not a fucking vagina bone.
It's the lines, right, that make it...
Yeah, I know exactly what he's trying to say, but the fact that he it vagina bone was like, all right, dude.
Like that's the kind of people that unfortunately are in an uproar about Sony quote unquote censoring these games on their platform right now.
Just straight up neckbeard, gross.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the reason why I'm not saying much right now is because I'm also part of that crowd. So I was one of the people.
That was actually James's alt account. He is the vagina bone guy.
I'm trying not to expose myself here. Okay, so
Vagina bones, James.
Jesus.
James Vagina Bones Chen. Here to bring you Tetris Cup 2021. James Vagina Bones Chen.
This podcast has been canceled.
James is going to be commentating Tetris, and he's going to be like, hello everybody, welcome to Tetris World Tour 2022. I am James Vagina Bones Chen.
Yeah, and then
that's what I'm waiting for.
I'm done. Oh my god.
You'll never commentate Tetris again, James. You're out of here.
Can't believe you, James.
You guys are exposing me here, man.
Hey, man.
Gonna get me banned from Twitch.
The truth comes out eventually.
Not as much as that dude exposed the censorship on those vagina bones.
Exactly.
That's true. He's a hero in my book. All right.
But yeah, that's the kind of people that are talking about this shit, right?
Renato actually put it in the chat.
About censorship, and it's just like, this is like a Nintendo game, and you're freaking out that like they took away a bit of cleavage or something. Like, it was alright. Like, it's like it's pixelated titty. Like, what is it?
They're not even real humans, my dude.
Why is it like?
That's not even fucking vagina bones.
That's ruining your life. Did somebody post the? Hold up,
I want to see these vagina bones.
Dude, it's a
James, you should put the vagina bones on stream. We need to know.
It's a fucking skin flap.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this shit. You ready for this? Okay. Not only did they remove her cleavage, but they her vagina bones.
That's where her fucking leg starts. That's what that is. It's not even a vagina bone. Oh my god.
Oh god! So make sure to put that in that tweet in the description. That shit was fucking hilarious.
This is all straight vagina bones.
So that's the exact tweet I was talking about, by the way.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna fit vagina bones into my everyday lingo from now on.
You know, get it in once or twice a day, you know, and then it'll just assimilate into your vernacular, and you won't ever think about it. And it's just happening.
That's how I started saying hella. When I moved to Las Vegas, everybody's saying hella. And I made fun of them for saying hella. And then like 2 months later, I was just naturally saying hella. I'm like, God damn it.
Yep.
It's a West Coast thing, my dude.
No, I mean it is, yeah.
That happened to
we
me
all do
too.
I'm in the middle, so I get to say dead ass and hella. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Hey, what's up, Joshimitsu? What's going on?
Oh shit, Josh, dude, what's good?
Part of the FFRK FGC crew here. Here we go.
Yep. He's also from my hood. He's PNW.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So did you yell at him too, like Kyle P?
No.
I'm gonna find a way to throw it. Kyle P is gonna become one of our inside jokes for this.
We need to get him on the show and have like a reuniting.
I legitimately thought about like telling you guys like we should just do that, like pretend like I didn't know anything.
No, we're gonna do that one night, and we're not gonna. Me and James are gonna set this up.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Do that.
We're gonna make the call, and all of a sudden, Kyle's gonna be in the call, and you'll be like, "What the hell?" Yeah, that's how it's gonna go. Just so you know.
Oh, shit,
Dude,
so
that guy's like number 2 in Teppen right now in the world. He was at one point.
Yeah, he's going hard.
Yeah.
It was really funny too, because like I saw his tweet. He like he was like, okay, I'm going to bed now, and then like 30 minutes later he tweets again like, oh, I didn't go to bed, and then he shows a picture of him getting like second place before the reset of like the rankings or whatever.
Dude, it's crazy.
Oh, Kyle.
I mean, look,
yeah, I didn't go to bed.
I'm starting to discover that, you know, I might not be cut out for all this fighting game shit. So, you know, I'm going to become a top Teppen player too, okay? Cause
Aren't you pretty good at that shit too?
Yeah, no, James is really good, dude. Have you seen his fucking, like, his tweets and his ranks and shit?
Dude, I don't know anything about that.
I mean,
so you
look,
could, you know.
and this can actually lead right into the next topic as well, but my problem with Teppen before was that I kept sticking with a character who wasn't very strong, or I wasn't using the strongest version of that character. So in the past seasons, Morrigan had one specific style that I wouldn't use. I kept trying to use another one because I just thought it was more fun and enjoyable to play. And then eventually, you know, it wasn't good enough. And right now, I'm doing super well. Like, I am just botting people left and right because I just picked the top tier. And I'm just playing the top tier, and I'm like beating everybody up now. So
that's the funny part about class-based deck game card games is like you can pick the top tier character, and then you can play the worst deck imaginable with them, right? Like it's just like really shitty.
Yeah.
Or you can pick a top tier character and the top tier deck.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, the way that it works, it's largely very tied. Like, it's hard to make a character good unless you have that optimal deck, because the characters are so very specific on the powers that they have and the synergy that they have with certain cards and stuff. So it is pretty exact, but I mean, the nice thing about it is this top tier deck that I'm playing right now is fun to use. That's the thing. So while it's strong, it's not like completely brain dead and just completely like you don't do anything. So I do enjoy this one, even though, you know, I tend to not pick top tier stuff. But, you know, one of the things that you learn quickly about card games, CCGs, is that you almost don't have a choice. Well, I mean, I forgot if I told the story on the stream or not, but when I first started playing Teppen, you know, there was only 8 heroes at the time, and there's 3 hero arts. So technically there's, you know, 3 times 8, 24 different possibilities to go with. And early on, I was like, yeah, I don't know if the balance is very good in this game. And someone's like, the balance is actually super good right now. And I was like, there's only like 4 decks that win. And they're like, yeah, the balance is really good right now. Because CCGs tend to have the problem that one deck becomes so powerful that everybody uses it. You know, because that's
there's that, and then you have your like side decks and sideboards and shit.
Yeah.
So like you would have a 1 counter deck But then if you played that one counter deck versus any deck that wasn't like that top tier deck that it counters, it dies.
Yeah.
Like that's usually like the meta of like TCGs a lot of the time.
Yeah, so now I've learned that now, and it's actually good practice here in Teppen that, I am just said, fuck it, I'm going to use one of the top tier things and just see how, because I really just wanted to see how far I could get if I used one of the top tier decks. And I mean, like I said, I've been winning way better than I have before, and it's nice.
That was actually
winning feels good.
That was why I stopped playing Teppen, actually, because I didn't want to put money into the game, and I spent all my like day one bonus shit on this random stuff. So like I was like, I want to play Mega Man X, and I like got a bunch of cards that I thought would be cool to use. I spent all my money on that shit, and then I was like, none of this is actually good. So I looked up like actual good Mega Man decks, and they all needed me to spend money to get the cards. And I could have looked that up. I could have waited 3 weeks and then spent my money, like the free money that you got for being a day one subscriber or whatever, to make good decks. But in my head, I'm like, the fun of playing a card game is making my own shit, right? Like that's the fun to me, and like that's why I don't play TCGs, because I'm not brilliant enough to make top tier shit on my own.
I'm so bad at making decks.
Dude, I'm the worst. Like I in my head, I'm like, okay, I want to accomplish this goal. Yeah. And I think of it like a fighting game character. Like, I want to be a zoner. I want to do this. And I'm like, I put all my shit into the one thing that I want to do. And then if that game plan doesn't work out, I just get dunked. And of course, against top tier decks or good players, I just get dunked. I don't even get to do the thing I wanted to do.
I mean, one thing I will say about Teppen, it's actually pretty cost friendly. I bought a season pass early on in season 2, and thanks to the season pass, you actually earn enough to get the next season pass when it shows up.
Oh, nice.
And so basically you could keep cycling it if you're patient enough and just get all the free pulls that you can get, and then spend all the in-game stuff that you earn. You can get, I mean, I'm missing a lot of cards. There's some decks that I can't build, but I could craft the cards because, the way that the whole thing works.
Yeah. I remember all that.
You can go the costless route, which is what I'm doing right now, and it's working out pretty decently, so it hasn't been too bad. But at the same time, God, I'm so bad at making decks in that game.
That's why I just don't play card. Well, one, because card games are super expensive.
Yeah.
If you want to stay competitive and all, like, it's a never-ending money pit.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other reason is because, like, I can't build top-tier shit on my own, or I can't even get close to it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, why I can't do the thing I want to do, like the fun part.
And the crazy thing is, like, there was one deck for Teppen that I knew was going to be top tier, and I tried creating it, and it didn't work. And then someone else made the deck, and now it's one of the best decks. And I'm like, I just don't, like, all the pieces
it's a playstyle thing.
Yeah, all the pieces that I knew were going to be there are there, but it's all the extra stuff that flesh it out, and make it work. And I'm just bad at that part, so...
It's not an easy thing, and like, to me, from what I've seen from most TCGs, only like a handful of people end up getting to find those things. Yeah. Like, I played Hearthstone for a really long time, Hearthstone and Shadowverse, right? I ended up having to use like top tier decks because I couldn't deck build very well either myself, like on the fly. But I saw some of those decks for Hearthstone get created at the time, and it was like. It was one of those things where only like certain people were making these crazy decks. And not only were certain people making those crazy decks, but when they made them, people were like, "What the fuck is this? Why are you playing this? Like, what is?" And then they would go on like 60-game win streaks or whatever, and they're just like, "What do you like? What you were doubting me a minute ago?" Like, I don't know. But it was always the same select few for Hearthstone specifically that were making these crazy decks. So I don't know if it's one of those things where like 90% of the human populace just can't do it, or if like the people found these decks at the same time and they just weren't as famous, so people didn't know, kind of deal. I
am very sure that top players steal from people all the time.
Yeah, I mean, one of the guys who's really good at Teppen, this guy named Iowa the Boat, who streams it a lot, who I helped with the event that Kyle was in that last weekend that I commentated. he like created decks on stream. I watched him right when a new season dropped, and he just was like, I think this deck needs this. I think this deck needs this. And then like the next day I saw everybody using it because it like works really well and everything. And it was just like, what the heck? Like every time I try to do that with a deck, it just like, it
falls apart.
It doesn't work at all. So he just knows. He just understands the kind of mindset of what you need for a successful deck. It's crazy.
Yeah, that ain't me.
Yeah.
So like Brandon, you were talking about how like you tried to think of it as a fighting game, and I think you're on the right track. I think what it is like, it's like if you think about a fighting game, you play a match with whatever deck, right? And then you go, okay, this is like when I'm playing the match, I'm losing at this, and this point. So this is what I need to work on, right? In the card game, you're still losing at particular points or versus particular synergies. So you need ways to combat those synergies, like when you choose cards to flesh out the deck or whatever.
Right.
Then you're like, and then I guess you would start to go like, okay, like am I running out of mana cost, or is like do I have too much, like this and that, and like you refine it little by little until like it just becomes bullshit, I guess. Kind of just very similar to like fighting games, like in a way. It's just
The
it's just a different game. That's that's all it is. I feel like
the interesting part about it though is with fighting games, once you've picked a character, you're kind of locked into it. With a card game, you can swap cards in and out of the deck to kind of change it a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a lot easier to pick top tier in card games than it is than in fighting. Is just pick a top tier, you'll win. Like no. I think it's a lot easier to like learn what's really good in a card game and when you should play a card and what you should counter with than it would be in a fighting game, just because of the general mechanics of each.
But it's funny because this was one of the topics that we wanted to talk about, which was picking top tier and having low tier heroes out there like myself. I told TuboWare the story that I had no interest in Zeta at all until I heard she was kind of not very good. Of course, that probably turned out to not be true. It was more of the Zeta, whining army out there.
Yeah,
but
a lot of crybabies. She's mad good.
Hey, I'm just saying, now she has the best anti-hero in the game.
Yeah,
so.
I know, right? and as soon as I heard she wasn't very good, that actually made me more interested in the character, weirdly enough.
I think we were texting back and forth when the idea struck me to talk about this, because so I have a theory. Not to interrupt you, but I have a theory revolving around most low tier warriors. Not all. This is not a cover-all, but in my experience, especially like at a local fighting game level, the players that went out of their way to pick low tier, like the Dan players, like the players like, I want the character that's supposed to suck. Like that's who I want to play. Most of those players were just looking for another excuse to be like, that's why I lost.
Yeah.
So my theory with the majority, not all, with the majority of low tier heroes is they're shitty players that want an excuse to be like, well, I lost because my character's bad. There is a guy in St. Louis. His name is Tim. I think he quit fighting games now. But he would purposely pick bad characters. Like he picked DJ and Dan in Street Fighter 4. I forgot who was considered bad in 5, but Laura. Laura was considered bad when 5 first came out. So he picked Laura, and I was talking, I was like, Tim, this character is clearly not garbage. Like you just suck. And so like Tim is my main reason, like the main thing. There's some other players that I won't call out. But yeah, like Tim was like the thing that struck gold in my head. I'm just like, oh wait a minute. He just wants another excuse. Like he just wants to be able to say, I lost because my character sucked. He doesn't want to take ownership, basically.
So I don't think they go looking for the excuse. I think they find the excuse. You know what I mean? Like they don't go picking low tiers to specifically have the excuse that the character sucks. I think what they do is they play the character that they wanted to play at first, and then when they realize the character's bad or people consider that character bad, then they go, okay, now I can say the character is bad, and that's why I'm losing, kind of deal. If they share that mentality, like.
Well, James, the low tier hero, thoughts?
I actually think that, there's a lot of validity to a lot of that. I joke about that as a low tier hero, that you have that OS, like, oh, well, my character sucks anyway, so I should have lost her. I mean, but honestly, for me, the reason why I like using low tier, it's actually, Cien talked about this a long time ago, that he liked picking characters that aren't commonly used, because he likes being different. He likes to be the guy who comes up with the weird stuff. And, for me, that's what a lot of it really was. I just wanted to prove people wrong that you couldn't win with some of these characters. Largely when I was playing, Alpha 1 and those kind of times, I was significantly better than most of the people that I played. So I wanted to use the low tier characters because I just wanted to beat them up with it. And then the one thing about playing top tier characters that bothers me is that I see everybody using that character and I don't feel like I get to be creative with them anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like all the good stuff is already found. And so I like trying to use, lower tier characters. Well, I should say I like playing characters that aren't used, who usually turn out to be the low tier characters because they're not being used because they're low tier. That's kind of the situation. So for me, like, I play Lucia right now. I don't think she's very strong in the game. I don't think she's low tier. But then again, I don't think that there really is anybody low tier in Street Fighter V. But one of the reasons why I like playing her is because there's not a lot of Lucia players out there. And it's fun for me to try to create new things and come up with the tactics for the character instead of like, oh, I'm going to pick Rashid and go watch the one of the 7,000 Rashids out there and do everything that the other Rashids are doing. And I'm just like, this is not fun for me. I like trying to solve these kind of problems. As salty as I get, and because you watch me get salty all the time, too.
Yeah, it's great. Pretty fantastic.
I mean, you tell me, is it actually entertaining or is it actually like uncomfortable because of how personal I take it?
It definitely depends on how you... Yeah, exactly. The person like raging, because there can be very uncomfortable raging where you're just like, I don't even want to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah, you're not that bad, James. Like, you don't rage out that hard.
I mean, I pounded my head on the table like 4 times in a row recently. So
that's not that bad.
Okay.
There's people who like put holes in their wall and break their sticks. And
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
People will rage out like fucking smashers in tournament who think it's okay to smash their controllers on the ground and debris goes. Dude, I'm just waiting for like a smasher to do that shit and like a shard from a controller lands in someone's eye.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You're gonna have to wait a couple years. I think we're gonna be in this quarantine for a little bit.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I'll just say.
When we get out of quarantine, someone's losing an eye. Goddammit. That's what I'm saying. All right.
I hope not, but I'm worried that you're right.
I'm waiting on it.
I hope it never happens.
No, I mean, your rage outs are entertaining for me, and I think a lot of like. Not so much anymore, but for a long time, James Chen had like the wholesome brand attached to your name. You were the wholesome guy who cries at tournaments and never swears and all. Like you've kind of broken away from that, so I don't think it's as surprising to see like James Chen table flip videos or anything like that. Like it's not as surprising anymore, but maybe like 5 years ago, someone saw James raging on stream, they'd be like, whoa, this is great. I've never seen this guy angry once.
That's why that Tekken video went so viral, right? I mean,
yeah, it is. It is
very famous Tekken video where I just screamed in like profanity and just like yelling and everything. I tried to turn that into my sub graphic and audio.
Yeah, good.
Haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I mean, honestly, it's funny because the story is that from my brother and my dad, the first day they tried to teach me how to play checkers, I lost to my dad, and my dad was like, haha, see, there you go. And I got so mad, I flipped the board. Literally, the table flip, even though I've never flipped a table in rage, like recently for fighting games, and it's the joke now, but like
recently.
Yeah. But honestly, like, yes, when I was a kid, Street Fighter is the game that improved my temper. Now, can you imagine that? Because I used to win at everything. I used to beat everybody and everything. I was that kid who was super competitive, and I always figured out the strategies. And so I would always win at everything. And then Street Fighter was the game that taught me that I just couldn't win off of my own natural talent,
Hold that.
And like I said, I think I talked about this on a different stream, but I used to be the guy that would like pound the cabinets, smash the cabinets and stuff like that. So
You're the reason Americans use hat parts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why American arcade machines had hat parts, so they knew kids were gonna be.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was that kid. I mean, honestly, I have always been that way. It's funny, when the Tekken Rage clip showed up, I showed the clip to my best friend just kind of as a joke, and he watched the clip and he was like, so? Because my best friends have played Mario Kart with me.
Sure, yeah, they know about the JC Rage.
Yep. He'd seen it before. He'd experienced it firsthand, was ready for it. And then, you hadn't seen James Rage until you were a man.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, so it's funny because the one thing that I've tried to make sure that I do, though, is that if I berate anything, I berate myself. Unfortunately, that's harmful to my own psyche, but
yeah, it is.
But I'm trying, dude.
So what I've deciphered from all this is you don't necessarily like low tier, James. You just like unpopular.
Yes. And it almost.
You're not necessarily looking for low tier. You're just looking for a character that's not played as much.
And another thing, that it's fun. That there is an enjoyment factor to it, because when I was playing Cammy in Street Fighter V, I just thought she was boring. You know, like, I just didn't enjoy it.
I mean, she is.
Yeah, she's super boring in that game. But like I said,
I mean, I don't think there's really no offense to Cammy lovers, but I don't think there's a version of her that's interesting.
Super Turbo, and also.
But she's trash.
Right, that's the problem.
But she's still bad. Interesting. Is the point?
However, I will also say that I really did think that Street Fighter 4 Vanilla and Super, when she had the Tiger D Cannon Strike, she was very fun. I think she.
She has that if you use meter in AE or Ultra. You just have to use meter.
Yeah, but that changed it entirely, dude. It was like it wasn't quite the same. So.
But it was also far too strong to have. I feel like.
Yeah. That tool in a game where crouch stacking is prevalent. Oh my god, you're just gonna get blown up all day by Cammy.
Yeah.
Either walk up, Tiger Knee, spike, or drill, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, or throw. Like, you're eating that 50-50 no matter what.
Yeah.
That sucks. That's not fun.
And it was meterless. Like.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you're always eating.
That's why it was so fun, though. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, it was fucking broken.
It's funny because I didn't even realize that that's what made it so strong at first.
Yeah, I was literally, let's go back and ask 2011 James.
Yeah.
Throwing tables and Cammy fucking sucks.
Yeah, because honestly, the thing about it was I just liked it because it allowed me to keep pressure going, and it was a way to be active and an interesting mechanic without having to be like, oh, here's an overhead, or here's this obvious ambiguous thing that she became of back throwing the hey guess now, and I hated that shit. Which is, like I said, why I
want to know why Capcom has never made Spin Knuckle useful. Why does she have that fucking move?
Dude, thank you. God.
Why give her that? It's. I mean, I guess it's okay as a V scale in 5. It's okay.
Sometimes you get out of the corner.
Yeah, it's just.
Let me go on my rant, my Cammy rant over here. It's just like, I don't understand why they won't make Spin Knuckle work to go through fireballs when there's clearly like 700 other moves that do better than that. They never let Hooligan actually grab crouchers or be effective, even though Birdie has fucking Dolphin Dive and it works just as well and everything, way better. I mean, they don't know how to design her. And the reason why she was so fun in Super Turbo is because she was actually a fast grappler. After I've thought about it for a really long time, I played her exactly like a grappler. She was a grappler with walk speed and good pokes, but she sucked, except her Hooligan was broken. And so you basically had to play the best you could with her without the Hooligan, so the Hooligan could be a surprise and catch people off guard. And so that was it was so fun for me to play because I came from Zangief, I came from being a Zangief player, and then I went to Cammy, and it worked for me because she played the exact same mentality, which was get them to not think of the spinning pile driver, and then all of a sudden you can catch them with that. And that's all I want. I just want them to make a bad Cammy with a super broken Hooligan again. That's all. But they'll never do it because nobody else will understand how to play her. So
yeah,
One of the things that you brought up in your like talking about the whole low tier thing, James, saying that like you like the lesser played characters, I guess you could say, the undiscovered ones. I think that is the absolute most common story I have heard from anyone playing a low tier. Every time. That's another reason why I don't think that they go searching for an excuse, is because every time I hear from someone when I ask them about their character decision, it's always, I don't like playing that character because everybody plays that character, or like I want to do my own thing or whatever, right? That's what I hear the most, like by far, like exponentially more than any other reason for someone wanting to play low tier. There are absolutely the people out there that will specifically pick a character because they are low tier, and I have heard that one before. That one is very minute. There's a small amount of those people, I think. But they exist. They definitely exist.
I mean, one of the interesting examples out there actually was David, and it wasn't that, it was because that's when the nerves started happening, and he just knew he couldn't compete anymore, and so he picked Dan. So Dan was like one of his main characters in Street Fighter 4 for that kind of reason, is then he has another reason that he's not performing up to par. But since he's been doing all the exercise and the physical exercises, now that guy is a freaking beast again, dude. Until his cat chews through his cord, but that's a good story.
I saw that. That was mad funny.
Man, when David, I've known David since like 2009 now, I guess.
Right.
But we were in a car, like I guess we're probably at like UFGT 7 or something. I don't know. But we were in a car. It was like me, him, Ski Sonic, and I forget who was actually driving, probably Humbag. But David was like, I asked him, I was like, dude, why don't you compete anymore? Like, I commentate, I still compete. And he started telling me about like his issues with his back and nerve damage. And I laughed because I didn't think he was serious. I thought it was like a bullshit excuse. I was like, okay, yeah, but really why? He's like, no, dude, seriously, like my hands don't fucking work. And I was like, oh, that's an actual thing you deal with. Like, wow, that sucks. Yeah, I thought he was fucking with me because that's like something David would do. Like, oh yeah, my hands just don't work. Fart joke.
Actually, it turns out you're just an asshole, bro.
yeah, I was. I was just like, that's a thing. That's a real thing for you. Damn, that's sorry, man. That sucks.
Tell us something we don't know, James. All right, we know.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm so glad to see David kind of back on the grind and doing so well at events and stuff, because I like I said, I even tweeted this out last night. It's tough because like I can't find. I mean, I say this, and it's really kind of stupid for me to say because I'm at Super Platinum in Street Fighter 5. I mean, that's like, what, top 40,000 in the world, top 10,000 in the U.S., according to the announcer or whatever like that. And I sit there and I talk about how bad I am at this game and how, like, awful I am and everything. And, like, I can't play fighting games anymore. I mean, part of me does, okay, I just lost all train of thought here. Oh. God. But
you woke up and wanted to say hi.
James, how could you say that about yourself when I'm gold rank in Street Fighter 5, okay? Or super gold? I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I've been grinding real hard at the game, and, my brain wants to be as good as I feel like I was back in the day, where you'll see those tips and tricks magazines. I was like rated top 5 in CVS1 in the nation.
I've seen those, yeah.
And stuff like that, because I used to play that game every fucking day, and I played every character and stuff. But, also at the same time, and this is something David talks about a lot too, is like players just weren't as strong necessarily as a whole back then. You could kind of...
man, that's true. That's a topic... True. Probably for another stream, because I could go on for hours about that. Yeah, I've had arguments with IA about this.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like the back in the day, like you older fighting game players you have a bit of nostalgia goggles about the level of play and things like that. 'Cause I've watched old videos of like, oh, this guy was one of the best in his time, and I watched the play. I'm like, man, this is like mid-level play at best nowadays. Like these players are not nearly as good as people remember.
Yeah, I only disagree around the Tomo era. I really do think Tomo was ridiculous, and if he had YouTube and all the stuff that we have today, he would still be ridiculous. I mean, obviously, he would be one of the ridiculous guys out there. But would he be competitive and he could actually win against all the top players right now? Oh, of course he would. But, like I said, I still think Street Fighter 2 was a completely different time compared to everything else because everybody was fucking playing that game. Like, everybody was playing that game. I can't even describe, like, you would walk into random ass fucking video store with a cabinet there and everybody there was doing all the top level shit. They were doing top level shit everywhere. So Tomo was like the one that I truly do believe was as good as advertised. I do think Vi, if he was younger and had the motivation for it, he would be just as good today as well. I think Vi is one of the special players out there.
I think Vi already proved that.
Yeah. Alex is still.
I don't think we need to.
Yeah, he's still one of the best players around. Anytime he took top 8 at fucking Sam Show at Evo. Yeah, he's still a very good fighting game player.
However, the one thing I will say,
level of play that he's put out, like in both Street Fighter 4 and 5 at this point, like
he still wins Wednesday night fights a lot.
That's what I mean. Like he's definitely a very good question.
Yeah.
What were you about to say, James?
No. I was just saying, oh God, what was I? Where was I going with this? Shoot.
My bad.
No. It's all good. It's all good. This is how it works. This is how it works. But I do feel like there was one period of time where, that's the thing is I understand the logic behind it. I understand the very harsh truth about the matter. And while I was definitely one of the top players back then, I don't feel like I have the chops to compete with people anymore. However, I remember what I was going to say now because this is kind of part of where I was going. There's kind of two factors to it, right? One, I really don't play as much as I used to. And so I kind of expect the same results for not putting in the time. And, like I said, I used to play CVS 1 every fucking day. And I played random select. And I played every character and I could use. I knew exactly what every character wanted to do. So it was just like a completely different, I can't. It's stupid for me to expect myself to be diamond ranked for playing like twice a week,
Right.
And then also, I really just do think a lot of the modern games, and I know you and I have talked about this a lot, Tubo, like I really don't think like Street Fighter V is the same kind of fighting game that a lot of the old school players became really good at. Right. Samurai Showdown is definitely a game that works for players like Justin and Vi. But I don't think Street Fighter V is that kind of game. Obviously, guys like those two and Daigo have gotten good enough to be still strong at the game. But I still don't think that Street Fighter V or maybe even a Tekken 7, even an MK11 are kind of those kind of games that cater to the heart players that I like to call, that I lump myself into. Yeah,
and I think like a lot of people want to fault you or even me because I've said similar things. Because at the end of the day, every fighting game is frame data.
Yeah.
Every fighting game is. At the end, yeah, sure. Every video game, period, is at the end of the day, right? It's hitboxes, hurt boxes, and frame data. That's every video game ever. If you want to break it down. But there are certain games where you at least feel like you can freestyle more. You can play more, like you said, by heart. Samurai Showdown is definitely one of those games. Whether or not, scientifically speaking, that's the way it should be played, or again, it's all fucking wire boxes and hurt boxes and frame data. Like that's what fucking video games are. However, what's effective in Sam Show doesn't feel like that.
Right.
I understand what you mean. I agree. I think older school players will like games like Sam Show.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like Granblue's kind of that way too, right? So I feel like, there's definitely some of the your turn, my turn. There's a lot of the your turn, my turn stuff in that game, but it's a lot more universal, it feels like to me.
It's easier to grasp and understand. I feel like Granblue is a funny game because no matter who you talk to, they all will tell you it feels like a different game. Like, I think it feels like Street Fighter 4 meets CVS 2. Yeah. But I've heard people say they call it like Anime ST. I've heard people call it like a Anime King of Fighters. Like, I've heard it called every other fucking game, which in my mind just makes me feel like, oh, wait a minute. If it feels familiar to whatever fighting game you want to like link it to, that just means it feels like a familiar fight. Like, it's a good product.
Yeah.
It just feels like a fighting game. Like this is how a fighting game should feel in the majority of people's brains. If you can link it to all these different fighting games, then it just feels like a fighting game at that point. And it does it in all the right ways. Like you can whiff punish, you have set play, you have all these movement options, you have roll, you have dodge. Like it just, I really like that game. that game is good, man. They did a really fantastic job.
I'm a big fan too.
I mean, that's why I thought it was the perfect game for that 3v3 event we talked about last week, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also,
it makes sense.
just to call it out here, what is it, Tubo? You said you just got SS rank on Grand Blue online.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I did. In 96 games. I'm pretty proud of that. And then fucking what's his face? Tempest posts up like today at some point. Oh yeah, I just made triple S rank, and he did it in 100 games. Like fuck you, man! You went up a whole goddamn rank on me in 4 more games. I mean, granted, this is the guy who's been winning just about every tournament that's happened in America so far. So I mean, whatever. Like, yeah, you're good. We get it. I was super proud. I was like, damn, well, it only took me 96 to get there, which isn't really true because I'd already been playing the game on PS4 for so long. But now I'm working on getting my PS4 account to SX2, and then I'll never play ranked on either system ever again. I'm good. I'm done with that. And maybe if they put in rollback netcode, then maybe I'll try to take ranked seriously again. But I just want to get to the point where I feel like I've earned my stripes, and then I'm good.
I would like to put an addendum on that. Maybe if they put in properly implemented rollback netcode.
Yeah. Bad rollback netcode is the worst.
Bad rollback netcode. Dude, we know that exists.
Have you seen? Have you seen the project out there that the fans are trying to put rollback netcode into Guilty Gear Accent Core plus R on Steam?
Yeah, that's been going on for a while now. They've made some serious headway. So when the Cannon Brothers first released it for free, GGPO, and all its like implementations or whatever, that's when that project started.
Oh dang!
Yeah,
dude.
That's been going on forever.
Yeah. It's just the thing is like the project only has so much manpower and so much knowledge, right? Because GGPO does require knowledge of the inner workings of the actual fighting game itself.
Yeah.
On a developer level. I'm not talking about like, can you whiff punish a move, or how does a move interact with another move? I'm talking about like literal zeros and ones.
Sure.
How do you control the camera? What happens in this? What's the state of the lighting in this situation and stuff?
Exactly. Because so they only have so many people doing that. So it's been going on for a little bit, and it might take some time before it happens.
Yeah.
It's cool that people are trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can try doing it to the Steam version of Grand Blue as well.
I'm just saying, Grand Blue is probably the only Arxis game that's already out that they would think about retroactively putting rollback into.
Especially because, like I said, they've done it to Strive now. You gotta believe that the delay netcode is the same netcode that they've been using in all of their games.
Yeah, absolutely.
1700%.
Right, and
it was the same shit. I'm
if
sure.
they now have the experience ripping out of a game and putting it back into another game, and again, as much as their games are very different detailed-wise, the engine between Dragon Ball, Guilty Gear Strive, and Grand Blue have all got to be pretty similar. The graphics engine, whatever, all the underlying guts.
It's all Unreal. It's all Unreal.
It's technically the same engine. It's just they understand how to use it better.
Right.
Now, obviously, I can't comment on every detail of that because that is far beyond my head. Despite the stuff that I watched where they did interviews like explaining their new system and stuff like that. I've watched those videos. That shit is still far above my head.
So good.
I can't comment on those details. But to my knowledge, it is the same engine. Just they understand how to use it better and better with each passing iteration of their games.
Yeah, and that right there, because it's the same engine and the netcode is I feel like, obviously, I mean, I've said it millions of times, before, that netcode is not that easy just to rip out and put in.
No, it's not.
The only reason why I think it's possible for Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is because they've now ripped it out of Strive. So they know what wires they're breaking.
They definitely built Strive with delay based in mind at first.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and also Grand Blue is a current IP that they have already shown that they were willing to continuously expand upon for years to come before it came out. Right, they were talking about the DLC roadmap.
Right.
And so, like, that is another reason why I think they would specifically pick Grand Blue, is because they've already decided they're going to pick up on that game.
And Cygames has money. Cygames has money.
Cygames has a lot of money.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, Renato brought up, he or she, they, whatever your pronouns are, so I don't know you personally, Renato. But anyways, they said, I would hope, if not Arxis, at least, Cygames listens to that. Mm-hmm. I actually think that might become a problem. Like, Cygames might have their nose too far into the development to the point where Arxis goes, hey, all the fans really want us to do this thing. Can we do it? And Cygames goes, nah. Don't spend any of the budget we gave you. Do not put any resources into that.
Yeah. So from my experience with both companies, Cygames is more receptive to that sort of thing than Arxis themselves.
Okay. That'd be good then.
So if it was a problem with somebody not doing it, I feel like it would be more so on the side of Arxis than Cygames. And if it is on Cygames' side, they do eventually come around to things.
Interesting.
All right.
Now this is based off of the mobile game and games like Shadowverse, right? Like different entities, different genres of games.
Right.
It could be way easier to implement those things monetarily, manpower-wise, etc. Right, for those games, the things that people are asking for, than it is one of these fighting games.
Fingers are crossed, man.
Yeah, I think that anything that would point to them wanting to do that would be the fact that they were going to run simultaneous games for their Pro Tour this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the first time Arxis is going to run more than one game.
It's true.
No, it wasn't. No, they ran Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, right? BB Tag.
BB Tag. Yeah.
It was they ran 3 games.
Oh wow, damn! I was way off that.
Oh, that's right. They
BB
ran
Tag,
Central.
CF, and Exert.
That's right.
They ran all 3 games.
Okay. Damn.
Yep.
I thought this was the first year they were running multiple for some reason.
Okay.
This year they downsized, which was very surprising to a lot of people.
Maybe that's why I thought maybe I was just like completely backwards there.
Yeah.
That was also really surprising to a lot of people because at the time Undernight was obviously gaining a lot of traction, right? So people were like, "Oh, they'll probably add Undernight to the tour or whatever," kind of deal. But no, that is not an Arxis call.
Yeah, so that's a French bread
like
game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, French bread, Arxis, and Axis Publisher. So there is a number of companies that they have to talk to, kind of deal.
Yeah, that's always the hardest part. But I mean, you play Grand Blue Fantasy, so you probably are up to speed with all of the crazy things that fans have probably yelled at, and so you probably know how receptive they are.
It's taken time, but they do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they definitely keep things in the back of their minds. I can't say that it happens quickly in a lot of situations because honestly, a lot of situations haven't happened fast enough in terms of game stuff for Grand Blue. But they're either currently happening or they have had after a few months or something happened. Right? They figured out ways to implement it and whatnot. I remember one of the biggest problems was how most phone games have auto battle modes. Right?
Yeah.
They have for the longest time. It was only that you could auto attack. You couldn't use any of your abilities or anything like that, right?
Okay.
And a lot of people were like, oh, "God, can you please allow for it to just use all the abilities possible or whatever, at the very least." And they were talking about how because there's so many different characters and things like that, they would have to come up with some sort of implementation for the AI to pick specific abilities from each character because each character is so uniquely different.
Right.
And then they ended up just settling on use debuff first, or use buff first, debuff second, and then damage ability third, and then you're good to go. That's what they ended up doing.
Nice.
And so I can't remember how long people were asking for this, but they were asking for it, and eventually it happened.
Nice. Okay.
Sure.
And if I'm not wrong, right, but Grand Blue is kind of one of those games that prints money, right, for side games.
Absolutely, it's one of the it's the most lucrative mobile game in existence, and one of the most lucrative games in existence. Not the most, but one of. Grand Theft Auto, the current version, is the most lucrative piece of any media in existence right now. Actually, any media.
Dude, GTA Online just fucking prints money for Rockstar.
Oh, really? God, I didn't even know.
The top most grossing piece of media in existence. That's more so including than video games. That is including movies, music, etc., etc.
Yeah, Rockstar they're just shitting out money. It's ridiculous.
Like, I'm not surprised, that a video game has gotten to that point. I'm just surprised because I don't see anything about GTA. I mean, I see stuff about all sorts of franchises online all the time, but I never hear anybody talk about GTA Online. But
it's because the only new stuff that's happening for it are like expansions to the online modes, right?
Okay.
And that's where they make all their money. That's why they're only expanding on the online modes. So that's like an expansion pack. You're not hearing about a completely new GTA game,
right? Yeah,
and so it's not exactly on your radar.
But I mean, even
if you're into GTA, you hear about it. I knew that most recently they had a casino update. That's the one like that I saw last. That was their most recent update. Like I don't even play GTA, but
yeah. But now that I think about it, probably the reason why. Because I was about to say, I know Fortnite's really popular, and I see Fortnite stuff, but then again, I'm also involved in esports, and, I don't see a lot of Grand Blue stuff on my timeline either. I don't see really, I don't know, I guess I did see it, I just didn't recognize it at the time, but,
maybe, yeah.
You don't follow that many people on Twitter, though, either.
Yeah, that's true, too. I really
don't. You follow, 100 people or something?
Like, it's gone all the way up to, 150 people now. It's wild. Ooh. I follow so many people now.
I think I follow, 600. So.
Yeah, I'm in the 400 or 500 range or something like that, I believe.
I didn't follow a lot of people, and a lot of people get mad at me when, I'm actually at 183 now. Oh my God. What have I done?
Doing it big, James.
Yeah.
I gotta tell the chat and everybody listening to this podcast, James didn't follow me until we talked about this podcast.
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't follow you either, though, so I can't give him shit.
Dang,
but I was trying to give James shit, and then now you're making it more difficult for me. It sounds like James is bad.
I was hoping you didn't notice that. I was hoping it would just have been like, oh, okay, maybe I think you just laid enough that you didn't see. Damn. Called out now. I'm like...
No, I'm just messing with you. I don't actually care.
Gotta hide behind...
You can just be like Hanzo Gonzo and put in your Twitter profile, don't ask me to follow you, fucker.
Yeah.
Well, it's like... So Hanzo changed it. It's like, it's not don't ask me to follow you, fucker. It's like, following me won't like, up your... Oh no, he didn't. He made a tweet about that. Never mind, that wasn't in his profile. Okay, but it was like, following me won't increase your chances in esports or something like that. Is what he said.
Carter's Twitter game is so good.
I wish
because it's so bad. It's so bad that it's like watching a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's so freeing because he can say whatever the fuck he wants and no one's gonna give him shit for it.
Well, that's because he's behind the scenes. He's not like forefront. But
and
at the same time, people do know him, so it's like he can still say whatever the hell he wants. And I think it's like one of those things where we're probably just a little more scared than we need to be about our public images.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can speak from direct experience that you are probably not protecting yourself more than you should be. Yeah, you're probably doing exactly what you should be.
I don't know, dude.
I got slapped on the wrist pretty hard. So
people still see my nigga shirt left and right. People still see me say nigga on Twitter and things like that. And like,
sure.
And nobody,
but like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to say directly attacked, but I talked shit about certain games and certain terms, and it got me in trouble.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't even do it in on my own Twitter feed or Facebook or anything like that. I did it I would randomly go into stream chats or whatever, and I would just pop off, or I would get drunk and have one of my patented drunk Tubbo streams where I would just fucking go off on whatever, and got me caught up.
the worst shit talking I've been doing, or like have done and been doing, past and present.
Kyle P.
Well, I mean, I guess there's Kyle P, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Kyle P.
I gotta add an addendum. I'm sorry, I gotta add Kyle P to this. Where like other commentators and things like that. Like it was mostly just commentary that I was like talking shit on Twitter about.
Sure.
Past and present.
Yeah.
So. I never really thought about it, right? Like, I wasn't really talking shit about, like, okay, that's not true. I've definitely talked shit about certain East Coast tournaments before.
Okay.
But...
yeah, I mean...
publicly on Twitter.
I mean, that's one of the tough things for me, right? Because, like you said, Tubo, like, I had been known as, like, the wholesome, you know, whatever, this kind of thing.
Right.
That's why Suck My Nuts Assholes got so popular, because it was so out of character for me. And so, you know, it is, like, for me, Twitter is tough because I'm such an emo kind of person. Like, I have, you know how there's certain, you know, guys out there that just, like, tweet emo shit all the time. Like, I can't even tell you how many of that I've written and deleted before actually hitting tweet. Like, you know, I have to be so, like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird.
No, and I know what you mean. Like, you know, I've been pushing politics super hard on my twatters for, I don't know, a better point of like a year or two now, at the very least, if not earlier. But I feel bad not tweeting about fighting games because that's what the majority of people follow me to see. They want to see fighting game shit. So like, I feel bad when I tweet about real shit sometimes, which my Twitter account was never intended for fighting game shit. That's what people know me for.
Yeah,
so
well,
you know,
you should never feel bad about that because that's like your personal philosophy. These are your life like feelings. These are this is you as a person, right? Like what you're saying, what you're retweeting, and what you're thinking. And so like I don't think you should ever feel bad about that. If they don't like it, they can hit the fucking road, bro.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
I mean, I've gotten that response before. I followed your account for fighting game stuff, not any of this crap, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Suck my nuts, assholes.
Suck my nuts.
Yeah. I've even had someone at one point tell me, it was like, oh, look, another Teppen tweet, unfollow, you know, or something like that. And I was like, dude, sorry, I've gotten obsessed with another video game.
Yeah, somebody said something similar to me the other day. I had tweeted, like a month ago. I was like, hey, sorry I'm tweeting politically so much, like, but this shit matters, basically.
Yeah.
And they literally said, like, yeah, well, I didn't follow you for bye. And I was just like, you'll be sorely missed, dude.
People, for whatever reason, don't want to believe that politics exist in everything.
Yes.
Which is really weird that they don't want to believe this because it's so readily apparent that politics exist in everything. Politics are currently affecting our situation with fighting games right now. Like, they were years ago. They will in the future, right? Like, and not even just fighting games, right? Like, you can talk about like any random fucking game. Everybody's into Call of Duty Warzone right now, the new hottest battle royale. Call of Duty is literally a game about war. What the fuck is war? Politics. Like,
I mean, dude, I've seen people write stuff like, why can't TV shows these days avoid politics like they did a long time ago? Like, why can't we just have fun stuff like Star Trek? And I'm like, do you know how political the original Star Trek was?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Yeah, it's like...
A black female lead on TV? What?
Dude,
that shit was not
Star
okay.
Trek actually has the first interracial kiss on television.
Yeah. Extremely political.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
like...
Renato
was bringing up a point in the chat that I was going to say. It's like Final Fantasy VII, the current like game that literally just came out.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, one of the most political games that's that, like at the very beginning of the game, you are an eco-terrorist trying to stop a gigantic corporation.
Yeah, you're fighting class warfare right there.
You're literally fighting class warfare. Like, I don't understand.
Listen, man, can you keep your goddamn politics out of my video games, okay?
Every single Final Fantasy has allegory for fighting versus religious complexes.
Yes.
Every single one.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true.
Politics is fucking everywhere, and like, if you think that politics isn't in your fucking video games, or like someone's being political when they say something on Twitter, yeah, they're being political because politics are in everything. Like, there's no way of avoiding it.
We live in a society.
Yeah.
We truly do live in a society.
One of my favorite ones is when those people play "Born in the USA" by Bruce Springsteen in their political rallies and stuff, and like, have you listened to the lyrics to this song?
Yeah.
Do you not realize it's kind of ironic more?
Yep.
I feel like there's a lot of political rallies that don't recognize what song they're playing during the rallies and stuff like that. Because I don't know if you remember, but like Trump tried to play. I can't remember what band he got to play in one of those rallies, but they immediately like went on Twitter and like, we don't support you at all. Do not use our fucking music.
Oh yeah, he stole their music.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
The shit was godlike.
Oh man. Yeah, but honestly,
yeah, politics are everywhere.
Art and media, I feel like we're born out of politics and being able to try to say stuff in ways that won't get you in trouble. Like that's been happening since the 1800s, 1700s. I mean, I feel like that's what those outlets have always just been kind of geared for people trying to say stuff. I mean, all these classic books that we read, that they make us read in high school, you don't think that these are all kind of yelling at the man and yelling about the establishment and things like that. 1984 by George Orwell.
Yeah, we both said the same thing. Okay.
Right? I mean, like, fucking you read that book and it's like that whole book is just about like, hey, look, our government is trying to brainwash all of us so that we can't think for ourselves. And it's like
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, I'll say To Kill a Mockingbird is another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, if you want to talk about something a more recent form of media that was created, that was in a genre that's long since been around, music, right?
Yes.
More form of recent music is hip hop. If that doesn't, like, if you don't see the politics in hip-hop, like, I don't know what you're seeing. So, like,
yeah,
you can listen to all the people talk about how much money they have in certain songs or whatever, but then you take a look at a lot of the other songs, and they talk about how they're in the hood, how the police are coming to get them, how, like, this or that, right? Like, how does that not sound like politics to you? It sounds, to me, like the government is specifically trying to fuck over lower income people or making a specific race lower income, right? Is that not politics right there? Like, like the police specifically acting towards race, a specific race. That's more like it's just it's like
I think
people listen to all the time, and they for some reason ignore the message. I guess I don't know.
I think people just don't connect the dots very well.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, if there's not senators and the president and the House representative, like, that's not politics then. That's different problem. Like, no, motherfucker. Like, the same web. Right. It's all the same shit.
If there's no man in a suit, what is it? Like, it's not politics.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people look at it, and that's how they think.
I mean, it's funny because I'm not a religious person, right? So I'm not, one of those people that, like...
Whoa, this is a Christian stream, James.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Get out of my Christian podcast, okay?
And it was really funny because there was a band that was on Rock Band, Flyleaf. And,
yep, I remember.
Yeah, and you know what? I really liked the music. It's really, really good music. And so...
Did you know they were a Christian band?
Right. And so there was a tweet that came out recently. They were like, I like this band until I realized they were a Christian band. And I think I kind of knew just from listening to the lyrics, and everything like that. And, as much as even like I said, I'm not a religious person. I'm just like, why, religion isn't everything that we do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Let me ask you about. Do you know Edge, the wrestler?
No, I don't. I don't follow wrestling.
I know of him. Yeah.
Okay, Edge, the wrestler. His theme song in WWE or WWF or I was about to say WWF.
It was WWF when he
But it was a song called Metalingus. Right. And I don't know if you remember the song, but it went something like, on this day I see clearly everything has come to light. And most people didn't realize that song was from a Christian rock band. And Edge specifically is known as the R-rated superstar.
Well.
Oh man.
That just falls in the category of people not knowing what their theme song is.
Well, I think Edge knew, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think Edge might have known, but his fan base, on the other hand, was very
butthurt.
was very anti that stuff,
Right.
and I don't think any of them knew that came from a Christian rock band.
Yeah, I mean,
all.
I think I was talking to Olaf about this very recently too, as TuboWare has left the building. Okay, but you know, one of the examples of that too is like Mike Judge humor, right? When he makes Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill and stuff like that, it's actually kind of making fun of the people who are watching it.
Exactly.
But the people who are watching it think it's funny because it's making fun of people that they think is worth making fun of, but it's actually kind of making fun of them.
That's one of the reasons why those shows got super big, by the way, was because people from both sides of the coin could watch it and think it was funny for two different reasons.
Yep.
Like, but by the way, King of the Hill is easily one of my most favorite pieces of media in existence. That show is so fucking clever, it's ridiculous. Dude, Beavis and Butthead, for me, was not as strong as King of the Hill, despite it still being incredible.
The hardest part for me is, like, I was just one of those people that I was always, like, really hung up on quality of animation, and when King of the Hill first came out, I was just like, this cartoon is so ugly, so I'm not gonna... It was
incredibly ugly, I believe. I agree with you.
So I never watched it, and so I've still never watched it, but now it's kind of one of those things that, like, retroactively I'm like, I was definitely wrong about it, because I didn't watch The Simpsons at first for the same reason, because I thought it looked terrible.
That was even uglier originally. Good Lord.
I mean, Elisa asks the question in the chat, can you enjoy a movie or song if the artist is a bad person? And, you know, I mean, even after they started, you know, with the revelations about Michael Jackson or whatever, like, I'm still going to listen to Michael Jackson music. It's hard not to appreciate how good it is.
This came up in a stream of mine a few weeks ago, actually. People, we were when I do a Grand Blue stream, normally I just have music playing, right? And I was on a Neo kick for a little while. We were listening to R&B, right? And then Kanye was on the next recommended, and I said out loud, I'm going to skip this Kanye song because as much as I, you know, used to love Kanye's music, I can't support him as a person these days.
Right.
And so it really depends.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, like the severity of whatever they had done as a person can lock you out, right? For me, I think Kanye has done a very severe thing in supporting Trump and etc., right? And been very much a big deal in making people think that Trump was an okay dude, right?
Right.
So I stopped listening to Kanye altogether, right? Then there's the Michael Jackson situation where I still listen to Michael Jackson, right? And you know, some of the stuff he wasn't doing, some of the stuff he was doing, right? Like Billie Jean, that was his kid. So, you know, Billie Jean, that was definitely his kid. And I don't mean in the song, I mean in real life.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
somebody asked about Chick-fil-A. I don't eat Chick-fil-A. Nope, don't do it.
Dude, I stayed away from Chick-fil-A as long as I could, but then my friends kept just let's just go eat there because it's good, it's fast for lunch and everything. So I have eaten there, but I try not to as much as I can. But I mean, speaking on this topic, there was one point in time on Nick at Night, I was on the Cosby Show kick. You know, I was watching all of the Cosby Show, and I was like, God damn, this show is hilarious. It's still funny even to this day. It's so good. Dude, I can't watch a single episode of the Cosby Show ever again, I don't think, you know. I don't think I could watch it now. So, you know, like you said, it's weird. I can listen to Michael Jackson, but I can't watch Cosby, and I don't know why. You know, I mean, as much as I'm mad at Jeff Bezos, I still buy shit off of Amazon every single time.
Right.
So,
I actually haven't bought I have a $50. Hold on, where is this? I have a $50 Amazon gift card. I got this shit. What was it, Christmas or something like that? I haven't used it. I haven't bought a single thing on Amazon in God, I can't even remember when. I've been trying to be pretty good about it. I'm not going to tell you, for example, James, you got to do this too, or you're just you're the literal worst. You're making the world the worst place. Blah blah. I'm not going to give you a bunch of shit for doing it. I am going to attempt to stick to it. If I don't, I don't. If I do, I do. But I don't really want to push that on you, depending on the severity of the situation, right? If it's super severe, then maybe.
All I'm going to say is I admire you a lot, Isaiah. And you know what? I want to help you. If you want to give that gift card to me, I'm totally down with this.
I need a penny. I'm gonna put the code on stream, and if you don't put it in your Amazon account before everybody else, then no, I'm kidding. Okay. I'm not gonna do that.
Oh man, yeah, no. I mean,
give it to somebody I know. Like,
hardest part about it, honestly, is it does. I mean, the reason why he's so successful because it really does save me a lot of money when I use it, and it's one of those hard things to justify, you know what I mean, to figure it out. And it's also one of those weird things because it makes me wonder sometimes, you know, am I as really, you know, as just a person as I'd like to think I am? And it's tough. It's a tough world. And you know what? You know, no spoilers or anything like that, but if you guys haven't watched The Good Place,
I was just about to say, literally, I was just about to say, have you seen The Good Place?
Yeah, you know your shit, Brandon.
I've had a lot of time to watch a lot of TV recently. So.
Yeah, you know that's been a thing for a lot of people recently. They've had,
to be fair, I did finish The Good Place when it ended on like its normal schedule. It's not like one of those shows I've been watching and seen, but yeah, no, I knew exactly where you're going with that. Dude, The Good Place is fantastic. We won't talk about it. We'll not ruin it for you.
Yeah.
But if you like Parks and Rec, it's made by the same people who made that. So
yeah, you literally can't say anything about.
I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah, you literally can't say anything about the show to anybody. My best friend got me onto the show, and he had to try to convince me so hard. And he was like, "You should watch this, cause it's good," you know.
Yeah, if you talk about it, it ruins.
Yeah, and
the whole first season at the very least. So yeah,
that's good that you guys aren't telling me. Good.
So you haven't seen it yet, then?
Nope.
Okay. Watch it if you have. I mean, we all have time, but honestly, watch it. Watch it.
Yeah, put some effort in. It's worth it.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe you that it's worth it.
And it has a start and a finish, which so many shows don't have, and it bothers me. Like if I know that if I hadn't started watching something and somebody's like, "Yeah, this show is really great," but it got canceled after season 4, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it. There's no ending to it. I'm not interested anymore."
Right.
Yeah.
But it actually ended. They ended it because they didn't want to keep it going.
Yeah. It has a true ending, just like like Breaking Bad or
coherent ending instead of it just being like, "Oh, hey, this is the cash cow. We gotta keep churning out seasons.
No,
it's not good anymore."
I mean, honestly,
what show is that on WB that does that? With the two hot white brothers. They're like hunt. Yes, Supernatural. That show is fucking trash. I'm sorry if you like that show. That show sucks. But they just keep it going.
I used to like that show.
I did too, but it got terrible.
Which show is this?
It became trash.
It's a show called Supernatural.
Oh yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So you know it's good. It has two white dudes.
Yeah, it's two white dudes and brothers, and they're both hot, of course.
No, I mean, honestly, like, I've seen a lot of TV shows in the past. I don't watch them as much anymore, but I'm not even exaggerating when I say The Good Place might be one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. So, like, it's
pretty strong.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to watching it then, because before I wasn't sure. I had never really heard anybody say any sort of like definitive thoughts about it, and I think they were probably trying to avoid giving away the stuff like you were talking about.
You can't talk about it without spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can take a look at it and realize why people aren't saying any definitive emotions that the show gave them. Because, like, legitimately, I was like, nobody's really talking about it, but I do know it exists.
Right.
So maybe it's not good. Like, or maybe it's, like, okay. You know what I mean?
Everybody who wants to say good stuff about the show can't say anything about it. Because everybody knows, you know, their emotions as they watch the show, and they don't want to rob that from anybody.
Yeah.
No, that sounds amazing to me, actually. I mean, like, just that alone is selling me.
Literally this last season, I mean, this is kind of a different thing, but like literally this last season, like it was one of the things that I just started crying so badly, dude, because it was just like, I was like, oh my god, my heart, my emotions, you know.
I can't believe you just spoiled the whole thing for me, James.
How dare you give away that the emotions are involved?
Right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Man, by the way, we're talking about spoilers right now. I feel like the spoiler threshold for some people is way too high. Like, I have a friend, Mean Saltine, I have a friend, Ben, who he will not watch a trailer to something. Like, if it's like an MCU movie, he's like, I I want to come in completely blind. I will not
Right.
watch a trailer. I won't read any preview material, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, fucking inject me with the trailers. Hit me with the rumors. Like, I want that. Like, I need that shit in my veins. Like, I need to know.
For me, it depends on on specifics.
Yeah.
If it's something I've been following for a long time and it just now gets like a new something, I stay away from a lot of the stuff, right? If it's something I've been like looking forward to, even if it's completely new, I might stay away from it. If it's like an MCU movie, I'm like, yeah, I'll just watch the trailers or whatever. I don't really care. It's not a big deal. But for me, it really depends on the specifics, like what it is, and what is my attachment to it.
I mean, for the MCU, I watch every trailer because I just like to get hyped because that shit is just hype.
Yeah, dude, it gets me so ready.
Except for Endgame. Like as soon as it got to actually it was Infinity War and Endgame, I was like, I don't want to get spoiled on these ones, you know? Like,
Well, you know what's really great about the MCU?
What's that?
Is they inject fake footage into all their trailers.
Yeah, Well, it's...
For example, Infinity War. I'm going to spoil Infinity War. If you have not 2 years after they came out, suck my nuts.
Right.
Wait,
Oh, yeah, in Infinity War, in the trailer, they had the Hulk. They had full-blown Hulk in, like, outfit running in Wakanda. The Hulk was never even in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Besides when, Thanos dunked him.
Right.
So, yeah, they inject fake stuff into their trailers all the time just to throw people off.
Yeah. And also, a lot of times,
unfortunately,
too, it's cut footage that gets put in there. But, yeah.
Sure,
still,
yeah.
Unfortunately, not every movie or video game does that. Unfortunately, some
That's
games,
true.
movies, and other things inject spoilers directly into their trailers.
That's very true. Very true.
One of the most famous
people
ones...
who maybe wanted to play Devil May Cry, not knowing Devil May Cry 5, not knowing what was going on. Fucking Capcom immediately, right before the game's launch, tweeted that Virgil was in the fucking game.
Yeah.
And he doesn't show up until mad later, right?
Aww.
And they were just like, here you guys go. Here's a fucking trailer of Virgil just showing up.
I mean, dude, one of the most famous ones was the original, one of the original trailers for the movie Castaway. Like, they showed the scenes of him off the island already,
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Wow.
They showed
Come
scenes
on.
of, Helen Hunt being like, you were gone for so long, kind of things like that. And it was like,
Yeah, that's stupid.
I remember some people who saw those trailers were saying that they thought then that the movie's direction was different and that he got off the island mad early and most of it took place in the town instead.
Right.
Sure, yeah. And then anything you saw was like a flashback.
oh, that's right.
That's a different take.
Hirobashi mentions when Batman versus Superman showed Doomsday all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah.
So that's why I do this dependent on my attachment to the media.
Yeah.
Because if it's something that I really, really care about, I will not watch any trailers for it. If it's something that I have less attachment to, I'll watch a trailer. I'll be like, all right, what is this? I'll check this shit out. Cool.
Sometimes I do it just because I almost kind of want to be spoiled a little bit, just so I kind of know what I'm getting into, because I'm named after James Bond, I'm really big into Bond films, and I can go off for hours on telling you which ones are the good Bond films and the bad ones and stuff. And so I will watch Bond trailers because I just want to be prepare myself for a shitty one or prepare myself for a good one,
Yeah, that's fair.
Roger Craig hasn't had any bad ones yet, has he?
The last one wasn't very good. Spectre wasn't very good. Quantum of Solace wasn't very good. However, Skyfall...
Casino Royale was dope.
Casino Royale is one of the best Bond films ever.
Yeah, that movie was dope.
And Skyfall is also just fucking amazing. Skyfall is super good. That one is also because the director was so good in that one. The director of photography, I forgot what it was called, that role, but yeah, one of the guys. It's such a beautiful movie on top of it just being a good Bond film. So yeah, Batman versus Superman was kind of bad in many different ways.
That's one of those things where DC's movie production team, they saw what Marvel was doing, and they tried to catch up to them before they established any sort of backstory.
They tried real hard.
Because remember, Justice League came out after a few movies.
Two movies, I think.
Yeah,
a couple then.
And like we need a team movie now. Stat.
Because they're like, oh, they've had their fucking team movie, dude. We got to do it too. We got to catch up, And it's like this plan that like the Russo brothers and all these other fucking people.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, cinematographer. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
This plan that like Marvel, the Russo brothers, all these other people that worked on this shit, had. This was meant to be something that takes place over the long course. They had they wouldn't have done this if they thought they could have. They wouldn't have done it this way if they thought they could have done it in 2 movies.
Yeah, I mean, by the time we got to Civil War, you really understood the Captain America, Iron Man tension. Because even in the first Avengers movies, they were already kind of yelling at each other and stuff, and you get why those two fighting each other is so goddamn tragic. Whereas you get to Batman and Superman, it's like these guys don't even know each other. Who the fuck cares that they're fighting each other? Whereas if you had the history of them working together and, being like the two leaders and all this stuff, and now they gotta fight each other because, it's come down to this, like, that's impactful. But when it's the fucking, like, second movie, like, what the hell, dude? Like,
well, I mean, wasn't BVS the introduction of Batman into the DC universe?
Yes,
yeah, because the Nolan, the Nolan,
didn't
Batman
count.
Doesn't count, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Man, and like the way the Nolan trilogy ended, it seemed like they were setting up for Robin to take over and be new Batman and go into the DC EU, and like they just didn't run with that at all.
Yeah, they just wanted to do their own thing, and it just and it's frustrating too because they also have the TV shows. They have the Arrowverse, which is completely separate anyway, and so.
But that's really interesting though, because their TV shows are really good in comparison.
Yeah.
Like very good in comparison. Like Gotham, I was pretty hooked on that for a little while. I haven't seen any of the Flash or the Arrowverse or any of that stuff, right? Okay. But so I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is, because like they did. And that actually happened for the animated stuff back in the day too. Their animated stuff was phenomenal,
dude.
It still is pretty good.
It still is good.
I never watched the Justice League cartoon that was on WB, and then Cartoon Network.
Did you watch the Batman animated series though?
Oh yeah! Oh hell yeah! Everyone watched that.
I mean, it's basically the same.
Right.
It's like the same animation.
So Justice League was on Netflix. And one of the first things that I watched after I finally signed up for Netflix for the Marvel stuff, I signed up for like Daredevil and stuff. So that's kind of how late I got into it.
Sure.
But Justice League was in there. So I was like, all right, I'll sit down because everyone talks about how good this cartoon is. It was fucking fantastic, dude.
Yeah, it's very strong.
So good. And like, then I go and watch like Justice League, the movie and shit. And I'm just like, oh. I'm like, come on.
I just don't get where the disconnect is. Their animated stuff is phenomenal. Their television live action stuff is great. But when it comes to their movies, their live action movies, they just can't do it.
I mean, look, I'm going to blame Zack Snyder because I hate Zack Snyder, okay? But
correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening or watching right now, but isn't he accused of like being a diddler or like a big pedo and everything?
Is he?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna Google it right now since the internet's in front of me. I'm pretty sure that he had some issues.
It was Bryan Singer. You might be thinking.
Oh, that's who it was, Bryan Singer. But aren't they like boys?
Yeah, Bryan Singer is the guy who did the X-Men movies, X-Men 1 and 2, and then he did the Return of Superman as well.
The chat brings up a pretty good point that more recent DC movies are better. Shazam, I heard Aquaman and Wonder Woman were pretty good.
Yeah, I love Wonder Woman. Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I haven't seen Aquaman or Wonder Woman or anything like that, but Shazam was definitely a good movie, in my opinion.
Shazam was fun. And again, Shazam is one of those movies that I will bring up all the time as evidence, again, of just how far Street Fighter has penetrated pop culture, is that one Asian kid turns into the Shazam and he goes, Hadouken!
Yeah.
So...
Don't they... I'm pretty sure they play Killer Instinct in that movie at some point, too.
Did they?
They play a lot of games, yeah.
Okay. I mean, even like Captain Marvel had Street Fighter in it. You know, like it's everywhere, man. Street Fighter.
That was just to show its age, though, when they were doing the flashbacks. Like, oh, look at the arcade cabinet.
But I mean,
game.
They picked a game that they knew everybody would recognize.
Sure, of course,
you know?
yeah, of course,
That's
yeah.
the thing. Because if it took place in the '80s, they would have showed Pac-Man, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so if you need that '90s, it's Street Fighter 2. And so, you know, people who weren't around that time, Isaiah, like it's hard for it's hard for me to emphasize just how much Street Fighter really was just in every nook and cranny of popular culture.
The thing is like it was in every nook and cranny after I became fucking conscious, though. It's like, otherwise I wouldn't have been playing like fighting games. I feel like
It's true.
But yeah, I don't know. God, there was something I was gonna say about the Marvel DC movies, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah,
maybe it'll come back to me. I don't know.
Marvel definitely makes better movies.
Yeah.
Well,
They definitely make better movies.
I mean, so I honestly feel like I thought we were in an hour and a half into the show, but we're actually 2.5 hours into the show.
We are, yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes. We're having a good time, James.
Yeah, I know. This is actually really fun.
Vibing.
But
as the children say, we're vibing.
do you?
It's a mood.
Do you want to save more stuff for like next time or anything like that, or just keep going?
I guess it's pretty late for Brandon, right? Like,
No, dude, listen. I go to bed at like 4 a.m. now.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
I don't have a job. James, I know for a fact you just woke up like 3 or 4 hours ago.
Yeah, no, that's actually true. I did. I totally overslept because I went to sleep super late yesterday again too. So
somebody in the chat reminded me of what I was gonna say. Actually, they said I like Marvel comics, but the movies are, Resident Sleeper or whatever. The reason why I got into Marvel 3, by the way, moved from Smash going to Marvel 3 and stuff like that, was because I was a big comic book nerd.
Yeah, so that's how that goes.
So, when going up into the movies, I had really high expectations because one of the first ones that was a part of this whole MCU thing was Iron Man.
Yes.
And by the way, Iron Man 1, fucking great movie. That movie's awesome, right?
Yeah, it's a top 5 MCU movie.
Because I was a comic book nerd, obviously I had other comic book nerd friends, right? So one of the big points of contentions for the movies versus the comic books was these movies didn't get this right. This didn't happen to this character, and these things were going on, right? But one of the things that you would know for sure if you were a comic book nerd was that there are multiple universes.
Yes.
And the MCU counts as a different universe where different shit happens.
Yeah.
So when I went to go watch Iron Man, I was like, what the fuck? Like, in my head, I was like, these are different things? But damn, is this cool as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real strong movie. And then at the end, when he didn't play the whole secret identity shtick, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's where they're going to go with these.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was a shocker, but in my back of my head, I'm like, okay, I get it. They're not going to really have secret identities.
Yeah.
That's not what they're going to do with this.
That's why it was always weird, because like I was like, how are they going to do Civil War? Because that's like the whole concept of Civil War was the superhero registration thing, and so the fact that they figured a different way to do it, I thought actually worked out pretty well.
It's all been pretty brilliant. I'm not going to lie. Like, I can't think of another film series or however you want to put it, IP.
Cinematic universe.
Together, cinematic universe. Doesn't matter like what it is.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other movie that they're like film universe that has put together 20-something movies that are like the worst movie. Like the worst MCU movie is okay.
Yeah.
like the level of quality they've maintained over 21 movies now is mind blowing.
Thor Dark World was pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I feel like it's bad compared to other MCU movies, but if I compare it to Batman vs Superman, it looks fucking like an Oscar nominated movie.
You got me.
It's the same way that you can sit there and say, okay, Cars 2 and Cars 3 are like bad Pixar movies. Like, okay, Pixar
but they're still pretty good films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pixar is probably the closest thing to being like cinematic universe, of just maintaining quality. So, Speaking of,
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been like 20 something. I don't think it's ever been done. I don't think it ever will be done again.
No.
Like it's such an undertaking to do that.
And it actually makes me scared because, what's the next stuff we're coming with? Black Widow, the character's already dead. The Eternals, like, do we really care about the Eternals?
I think the most, well, besides Combo Breaker getting canceled, the second most disappointing thing for me surrounding COVID is the delay of the MCU.
Yeah, it sucks for a lot of people for sure,
dude. Like, and they didn't slightly delay it. They pushed fucking Black Widow. It was supposed to come out next month. They pushed that shit all the way to like November. Like they were like,
really?
no, we're pushing everything back like a year.
Yeah, well, they can't be responsible for a bunch of people going to the movie theaters.
Well, yeah, no, I think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's just, as a fan, I'm just like, God damn it. Like,
It's true. Ugh.
One of the only things that really upset me about the MCU was this could have been the particular movie theater I went to, but when I did go in and watch that Iron Man movie, you know how they have the pre-screen shit? Just before the movie started, there was a quiz question. It asked which one of these characters is not an Avenger. The characters were Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, and Spider-Man.
all of them have been an Avenger at some
All of them are Avengers, and the answer was Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to say, they probably went with Spidey because he wasn't an original, but neither was Captain America.
No, Spider-Man was an Avenger before Captain America.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, neither was Captain America.
Right.
So, like, what's the...
When people call Captain America the first Avenger, they don't mean that he was the first Avenger in the fucking Avengers. They mean he was like one of the first like big name like superhero people that was like avenging people and like helping them.
Right, and not only that, but he was also born before all of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Well, okay, fair.
Thor is older.
Thor,
That's
Wolverine.
True.
I mean, there's more, but I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But yeah, the point being, like, Wolverine was in the same war as Captain America. Captain America and Wolverine fought in the same fight.
Yeah.
Like, several times.
That's why always one of my favorite lines in Endgame was, like, I'm Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using made-up names now? I'm Spider-Man.
We're using made-up names.
Yeah.
In that case, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. There's a Spider-Man and an Ant-Man?
Dude, that's like every tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, when you introduce yourself to someone, you're like, fuck, do I give him my real name or my gamer tag?
It's a 50-50 if your real name is not your gamer tag. You're like, oh, shit, do I tell them my name is Isaiah? Like...
I mean, the ones that always blow my mind are like Ryan Hunter's real name isn't Ryan Hunter. Like that bothers me, His real name is Ryan. He just has a different last name. But I'm just like, come on, man, come on.
There's also like the left field one where their gamer tag is not their real name, obviously. But people don't also call them their real name when they call them by something that sounds like a real name.
Oh yeah.
You know DS Move, otherwise known as Bobby, one of the anime players.
Yeah.
His name isn't Bobby.
That's very weird.
Everybody calls him Bobby, right?
That's
as if it's
super
his real
weird.
fucking name. For the longest time, there's so many people that think his name is Bobby, by the way, like his actual name.
Right, yeah.
And the DS Move is like, he's actually like a fairly well-known anime player. His real name is Damien.
Okay.
Damien goes by Bobby, a.k.a.
Everybody calls him Bobby. So you get this weird triangle of people calling him by the wrong name in 3 different ways because you're like, okay, DS Move, that's not his real name, that's his gamer tag. Okay, Bobby, that's not his real name, it's just a fucking nickname.
Dude, it's that line from Rocky Raccoon, right? Her name was McGill, but she called herself Lil, but everyone knew her as Nancy. Oh man. I mean, like, Breaker Dave's real name isn't Dave, right?
It's not Dave. No, it's not Dave.
You said Breaker Dave?
Yeah, Breaker Dave, yeah.
Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's
weird.
Funny. Yeah, actually,
my real name is TuboWare, guys.
Yeah. I was about to say, my name's not James Chen.
Dude, that's still trying to get his maiden name, like his Chinese name, but he doesn't even have James.
I can tell you what my Chinese name is. I do have a Chinese name. So.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah.
Give it to me.
It's Chen Bihong.
I'm not even going to pretend to try and pronounce it.
We're just going to stick with James.
Yeah, Chen Bihong. And like the way Asian languages usually go is your last name comes first. Like
Right.
Yao
Family
Ming is
name.
not Mr. Ming; he's actually Mr. Yao.
Right.
It's the same thing in Spanish.
Yeah, Zhang Ziyi, like everyone would call her Miss Ziyi, but now she calls herself Ziyi Zhang because Zhang is actually her last name, you know. And so
I said
that's
Spanish,
why
I meant Japanese. I'm sorry. I
Wait.
said Spanish, I meant Japanese.
when you
Sorry.
hear my name, you know, Chen, that's how you say Chen. That's what that is. Chen Bi Hong.
Oh, it's Chun-Li. Got it.
Yeah. Not quite. Chun-Li is actually Chun Li, is how you would say it in Chinese. So, beautiful
Weird.
spring. Beautiful spring is what that means. So, how do East Asians get a westernized name? The parent just chooses it. That's it.
Parents said this is your name. That's how.
It's the
That's how
same way.
Damien got his name. He's like your name is Bobby now.
Because that's like my cousin's name is Zhong Sen, and they named him Johnson, and I was like, that's a last name, you know, but that's his name now. So, you know.
It's also a first name. I feel like I've definitely heard like.
Okay.
I mean,
Johnson
you
is
can
a
just
first
you
name,
can just
but-
be called John at that point. It's not a biggie.
Exactly.
I think that means we're done.
I know, right?
The sigh.
I think that means we've hit the limit for this episode. I feel.
I mean,
like.
you know that always happens, right? Like you had those situations when you're a classroom full of 30 people and then everyone stops talking at the same time and it's weird. I think that just happens. So. Oh yeah. High Score Girl, dude. The second season just came out, and I'm so hyped for that right now. So I'm definitely gonna be watching that very soon. So
I haven't watched a single episode.
I saw a little bit of it.
For someone who grew up in that time period, like so many of the little things they do in that show, like, you know, they went to one cabinet and like all the buttons were missing except for one
Yeah, I
button.
did
Like,
see that clip.
that shit made me laugh so much because I was like, oh my god, like that show hits me in ways that, like, you know, because I was around at that time, just is, oh god, it's so crazy.
I'm young and I've lived the buttons thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
true.
that still happens
I
to
mean,
this day.
yeah. So if you go to any arcade, they don't keep up with their
Yeah,
machines.
It's true.
Some do.
They're all
Some
busts. Well, I mean, some, but the majority.
The majority, yeah, are fucking like. It's like they don't even know most of the machines exist.
Yeah, pretty much.
My favorite was actually it's a more recent cabinet. Ground Control Arcade. You may or may not have heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
If you like arcades, is an arcade in Portland. We were one of the lucky few to get Killer Queen when it first was being tested and all those things, right? So Portland became like a big Killer Queen scene, right? Like we had tournaments for it and shit. There's a lot of people in the FGC were entering the events and doing very well and stuff. But we were trying to tell the people that were doing the cabinets for Killer Queen that there was stuff wrong with 2 out of like it's 6, I think, 2 out of like 6 or 8. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
it's 6. It's 6 players.
Yeah, so it was 2 of the sticks, both on the same sign, were having issues, right?
Yikes.
These buttons were like, and then this had like and then the actual stick itself had an issue. Well, it's been years. I can't remember what the issues actually were, so otherwise I would tell you. But they didn't believe us.
Great.
The arcade repair person was like, no, see, I'm doing it. It's just fine. And we're like, yeah, you can do it every now and then, but every couple of inputs it drops.
Right,
like,
right.
Or the issue for one of them was different than the other, and he still wouldn't believe us, kind of deal. And it was just like,
Man, and like Killer Queen uses like all sandwall too, so it's super easy to swap all that shit out. So that dude's just arguing to be a jerk. He's just being lazy.
yeah.
My up down in Minneapolis, we have a Killer Queen set up too. So
okay.
I've seen the tech go in, open up the shit. I'm like, oh, it's all sandwall. It's super easy to swap out. I've watched him swap out buttons and shit. So that guy in Portland was just being a jerk.
Yeah, no, I just ran to my room because I wanted to bust this out for you. So I've got a ground control hoodie because I went to Portland for the Retro Gaming Expo the first year. And
Yeah,
I
you've
forgot
been here a couple of times.
I forgot that it rained up there.
It definitely rains here.
I did not bring a hoodie, and it was very rainy, and so that was the only booth that was selling a hoodie.
Next time you come down, I'll bring an extra hoodie just in case, I guess.
The funniest thing, too, is the guy who sold me the hoodie was like, "You're James Chen, right?" And I was like, "Oh, cool."
I don't know that guy. What is your Chinese name?
Sun Bi Hong.
Yeah, you need to fucking. That's how you need to introduce yourself.
My name is. It'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes with because I have two first names, so sometimes I have to use the second first name to make things easier because people don't know how to spell Isaiah.
Oh right,
and that's incredibly common. Okay.
That's fair.
I don't know if I've shown off the classic Isaiah at Wendy's, them trying to spell the name Isaiah. But
Starbucks.
They spelled it Izeja, and I was like, wow, this, I've never gotten that before. But it also offended me at the same time. I was like, I can't believe this shit. My first name is actually Isaiah-Patrick. So when I go to restaurants now, I just say put it under Patrick.
I can't even call you a Patrick. Like that doesn't even like fit. I don't know.
My name is Isaiah Patrick. Like that's just what it is.
I didn't realize that you could just like I've seen hyphenated first names, but it's usually like Kelly Joe.
Well,
I've never seen like Isaiah-Patrick.
I guess it's because my mom named me, and she's the black one in the family, and she named me that specifically because, and I quote, "It rolled off the tongue."
Isaiah-Patrick? All right.
There's no deep meaning behind my name.
Rolls off the tongue. Why not?
She was just like, it rolls off the tongue.
And the crazy thing is, Isaiah, like the way that I spelled your name, like Isaiah Thomas at first, you know, because that's what I thought it was, and that's not even how
everybody spells it Isaiah.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's
you're what Izayah.
Oh, that was good. Nice work, Brandon. Ooh.
There you go. I like that. I like that, actually. I like that spelling a lot.
I like my name a lot, actually. A lot of people are like, oh, I really wish I got to choose my name, or I might want to change my name when I get older. I'm like, nope. I'm good.
I've told myself if I ever had a kid, I want to pick something more unique. I want to do something a little bit more interesting. So
don't pick the name unique, though. People will be making fun of that child. Like, every time they get into a new classroom, they'll be like, oh, haha, your name is so unique.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not going to name him Corona or anything like that, or Lamangelo. But, I mean, like, if I had a daughter, I had thought about actually naming her Mirage, because I really like that name.
I do too, actually.
That's a stripper's name, James.
Yeah, it is. It is, unfortunately, but, like, I got it from The Incredibles. Because the secretary who worked for what's his name, the bad
Billy.
guy. What is it?
Yeah. Billy is his real name. Yeah. Or Buddy, sorry, but I said Billy. Buddy is his regular name.
Yeah. Her name was Mirage in that, and I really liked that, and that was also the name of my favorite Transformer too. So
I thought there was a really long stint where I thought about naming a daughter Seraphim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a really long stint where I thought about naming a daughter Seraphim.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would still do it these days, but at the same time, like
Syndrome, that's what his name was, yeah.
Yeah, Syndrome. Yeah. Buddy is what I like to call him because just because fucking Mr. Incredible go home, buddy, and he's just pissed. I love that shit. I love it.
Oh man.
I am Syndrome, your nemesis, and
if I had a kid, I would name them Stem Cells because we are hitting that abort button immediately.
Really?
Dude, I do not want children at all.
Oh, okay. You're in that camp.
I do not want children.
You're in that camp. Okay, that's fair.
I like kids. I used to work at a children's home. I have no problem with children. If I had a kid, like, I don't want to say right now because none of us are going in right now, but a year ago, if I was a father, how could I fucking travel to tournaments? Like, I couldn't do that.
Oh, right.
Like, the reason I don't own a dog is because I don't want to board a dog while I go to tournaments. The reason I have a cat, I mean, I prefer cats, but the main reason I prefer cats is because I can leave Miles at my home for 4 days and give him a ton of food, and he's good.
Yeah.
You know, like he'll be pissed off, you know, but he will survive and not be abused at all, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Whereas,
honestly,
like, a dog is like a forever toddler, and I don't want a child.
honestly,
I do not want something tying me down.
that's why I don't have a dog. That's 100% same reason. Too.
Yeah, dude. Like, fucking, like, honestly, like, as a commentator, have to board a pet every time you go to an event.
Yeah.
You're not making any money at the event. Like, boarding a dog for like 3 days is like $300.
Yeah.
I would have a friend watch my dog. I don't think I could.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And but even then, you have to pay them. And like, what if somebody can't that weekend? It's a mess.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
It's a
I'm just
mess.
saying, like, I don't think I would ever leave my dog with,
Yeah.
because
it just,
I don't ever leave dogs.
Right.
I mean,
Anybody
that's
else
just
that
the
I don't
thing.
know.
And you know, if you have a kid, you know, higher probability that you would be married and have a spouse to be able to take care of the kid. But then you're putting the burden on them, and you just gotta be
Yeah,
worried
yeah.
about
It's
that
a lot,
either.
man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those stories for sure in the FGC. I can tell you that much.
There is, yeah.
For me,
Or
honestly,
you can just become a family man like Justin Wong and give it all up and make content.
I mean, look, the guy.
I love that.
Dude, I mean, because I know Justin, like I'm so goddamn happy for him because
Oh, yeah, dude, he could not be a happier father.
yeah, this is
It's
something that he
amazing.
has wanted for a long time, and he is just, you know, the way I've seen some of those videos of him interacting with Harper, and it's like the fucking most precious thing ever, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, he when Granblue Versus came out, you know what he named his online name?
What's that?
He named it Harper.
Oh God.
Oh,
I thought
he names all of his characters Harper now.
Yeah, now he does. But like,
Yeah.
that was the first time I saw it, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that's so adorable.
Yeah,
like,
I know. It's like,
Yeah, he's
adorable
he's
as-
definitely a proud father.
I used to think that maybe I wanted kids, and now I'm like I'm not sure.
dude, we're totally
Now
gonna
that it's closer to being a
idiocracy our
possibility
country,
thing.
dude.
Oh, that's what you're saying? Like we just can't. If we don't breed, we'll be good. Like,
we're gonna idiocracy our country here, dude.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie before?
Okay, you don't think President Camacho would be sick?
No, we're experiencing that right now, and it is terrible.
Okay, but we're experiencing like white person President Camacho.
Yeah.
You know, so it's worse.
That's
if
true.
If we had Terry Crews,
Look at this. Oh, are those Harper emotes in the chat? Oh, they're Harper
Those
emotes.
are?
Oh my god.
Oh, J Wong subs, I see you.
Oh, dude.
that's godlike.
That's so
That's super good.
adorable. Oh my god. And you know what the scary thing is? That even that emote looks way too long ago now. Like,
Yeah, they grow
she's
fast.
much bigger than that now, so
Well, dude, that's even just like Rick and Kat's kid,
Yeah.
Tira.
Yeah.
I met her when she was like, I don't know, probably like a month or so old. Now she's quadruple the size of that.
dude, you know what'd be
Like, holy
awesome?
fuck, man.
Is if Justin just kept updating that emote. Cause you
Just
can just
changing it to a new face.
Yeah,
I mean, he probably will, yeah.
That's actually kind of a godlike idea. I'm gonna tell him that now.
I feel like he'll probably wait for more milestone-ish
Yeah.
growths rather than like doing it all the time. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I think I'm actually kind of getting a little
Are you
tired.
winded, old man?
Can't keep up.
Yeah, basically. Plus another thing too is, you know, I do want to try to get this out on the YouTubes tomorrow and stuff like that. So
All right.
if I don't know, it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys then. So
No.
Listen,
we can
James,
probably-
you want to go?
probably a good
You want to go, James? We can go. All right. Why don't you know this is your decision, James?
oh man. All right,
It's all
cool.
on you. It's you, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's all on
Damn
you.
right. I'm the old man here. I'm shaking my cane at you.
You
That's
are.
right. Alicia, I wanted to actually answer that earlier. We do this every Thursday night. basically. 9 p.m. Pacific time, we start another one. So that's what we do. So it's once a
every
week
Thursday night we'll be here.
Yep, exactly.
So far, we've done pretty good about not canceling. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, next show will be a month in. We've done it.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, we all have so many places to go right now, obviously.
Yeah,
right.
The schedule's been super hectic. It's been really hard to schedule a third-day podcast every week. But, we make it happen.
A lot has actually happened since we started, though.
No, dude.
Like when we started, there was not a quarantine in most states.
Yeah, when we started,
I had a job.
God.
Like a lot has changed.
Bernie was still a candidate, man.
Before we go, I want to update you guys. So I told you I had the quarantine hookup, right?
Oh God, that's right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, that shit ghosted me. Like straight up ghosted me, yo. Like we were hanging out, like we hooked up, we kept talking, we made plans. She canceled on plans one time, and then the next day she like made a comment to me about like how she like sometimes disappears, and I was like, "What do you mean you're just gonna ghost me?" She's like, "No. Like sometimes I'll just like stop responding to text for like a little while." I was like, "Oh, that's fine. People do that." And then later that day, I was blocked on anything that we had followed each other on. She unfriended me on Snap, and she stopped responding to my text messages. I'm assuming she blocked my number.
You know what it was? It's because you bragged about it on this very podcast.
Dude, I honestly worth it. 100% worth it. I hope she watched it. I hope so. She also told me before we hooked up, she would give me a life-changing blowjob, and it was like, I don't know, like a 5 out of 10 at best. It was like, it was great. It's a blowjob. It's still good, right? But I've had way better. So I didn't lose much. All right, she wasn't like this great person that I enjoyed. It was
like, seriously.
All I can say is welcome to Tinder.
I mean, dude, trust. I know all too well.
Look, next time we see each other, I will blow your mind. Okay.
I hope not in the same way that she meant.
Okay, Frosty Faustings, we're gonna share a room again. Okay, so I'm just
every year.
Just letting you know.
I require video evidence.
Wow, you want to watch the James Chen TuboWare sex tape? You are one of one, sir. You are the only the only person.
Yo, can I get some number 6s in the chat if you want to see that video?
Okay, we're done here.
Alright guys, well this has been Generation Spacing.
Alright guys, catch us next week.
Yeah, I know.
Next Thursday, every Thursday. Follow us on Twitter and stuff.
Mwah. Good night, everybody.
Later, guys.
Alright, peace out, everybody. Oh God, this is terrible.
This is perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. This is great.